Round one, fight!
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Tier Ranker Fights. Tonight we're getting back into Tier Rankers. We haven't done one in a minute since we ranked the best Christmas characters, so around Christmas time. So we've been a little heavier on the tournament fights, but we want to get back into some Tier Ranker. This is the start of our best animation movies of all time. So this is episode 84 of Tier Ranker Fights, and yeah, tonight we're going to be covering 2010 to 2016 because we wanted to cover the whole decade, but some of these decades are just stacked when it comes to animation. So there's no way we just be here all night. So we split it in half. So it's going to be 2010 to 2016, and then next month we'll get to the other half of this decade. So yeah, but I'm your host Jordan. The movie hero, I should put in movie hero. I have snack heroes still because I also do snack hero. I was reviewing snacks yesterday, so you can tune in and watch me eat 4 new kinds of cereal. But let's see. I'm going to switch that. There we go. All right. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and introduce our guest for tonight. So we'll start with my co-host, Austin Pez. How's it going?
How's it going? Yeah, no, ready to help you run this tier ranker. Should be fun, especially when we get into these decade series. We were always looking for a new kind of genre to jump into, and then we said, hey, let's just jump into the whole genre of animated because there's definitely enough to roll this thing and see what happens. Yeah. So this will be our new one. We'll be kind of tackling it over the next really. Each one of these things takes about 6 months to kind of run through.
Yeah, right.
doing like an episode a month, but it's always fun. The action ones are great. The horror one, of course, we had a super time with. So this should be good.
Yeah, and the goal is to come up with a definitive top 10. We're going to rank movies all over the tier chart that we'll talk about in a minute, but we want to come up with the top 10 because we're going to take all the top 10 from every episode, and when we finally get to the championship episode, it'll be made up of all the top 10 from every one of these episodes. So yeah. So, but I'll go ahead and I'll introduce the one who is kind of helping us run this thing that kind of came up with the list and everything, and it'll be Jacob Barber. How's it going?
Going well, yeah. This is kind of an easy list to make because it's like, is it animated? Was it a good movie? Or was it well known? Then yeah, okay, it's on the list. So that one part was easy. Making the tier chart itself, that takes a lot of time. So Jordan, I applaud you for making so many.
I made about 80 of them or 80 something of them, and yeah, now you can see why I appreciate the help whenever you guys can help out. So yeah, it definitely helps.
So Jacob is our tier master this evening, running the board.
Yeah, he'll be running it. So,
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll be helping him out, tracking the votes, even as I usually do. So we'll all work together and make this thing roll. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got some fun guests that I'm excited to have back on the show for a couple of them, and the first time for one of them. So we'll bring up Andres Ace Cabrerra.
Hey, what's good, y'all?
Hey, what's Ace? Hey. Good to have you back.
Yeah.
Good to be back.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then we also have a first timer. We have Dylan Randazzo. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm excited for this. I love animation, and I'm excited to talk with all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to bring in some people who really knew their stuff with animation because me and Austin, we like animated movies. Maybe we're more casual animated fans a little bit. So yeah, but
Jacob, that's his bag over as far as our movie hero people. He's the animated guy. Yeah, he knows his stuff, and yeah, we want to get other people like y'all. Other people y'all love it. But we have Dylan's partner over on the Dill Pickle Network, Chad Webb.
Yeah.
We'll bring him in.
Hey,
Chad.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I mean, I love me some animation. Sure, why not? Especially with digital animation, it just keeps getting better and better every year. So let's have a good time. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. And that is true. Once we get to the movies that'll be the second half of this, I think you can talk about some ones that have really gotten just amazing animation. So yeah, we'll we'll get there. Yeah, but even some of these are still pretty dang awesome. So yeah, so we'll go ahead. Well, Austin, as the coach, do you want to explain to everyone how it's going to work tonight?
Yeah, so here on Tier Ranker, what it'll work is in just a second, we'll bring up the actual Tier Ranker chart and we'll kind of slide everybody over to the side over here. And what we'll be doing is kind of just going up the ladder. So everybody will get a chance to, when it's your turn, pick a movie from the pool of nominees. We're not going to get to every single one of them. Obviously, that's just the pool of available nominees, pretty much everything all the animated movies that came out around that time period. So pluck a movie out of there, movie A, talk about it for a second, about a minute or so. Give us what tier you would put it in, and where it starts is we have S tier at the very top, the superior tier, the best of the best, and then it goes down like grades in school, A, B, C, D, F tier, and then we have a haven't seen it tier. If you haven't seen it, just say you kind of abstain, you haven't seen it. We need at least 3 people on the panel to have seen it to submit a vote for it to actually count to get up into the tier chart to be eligible. So we need at least 3 of the 6. But yeah, we'll go up and down. So let's say Chad nominates movie A, and he'll say where he thinks it goes, and we'll just work up the ladder. Dylan will kind of submit his thoughts on it, where he thinks it belongs, what tier, and Ace, and et cetera, until we get to everybody. And we just kind of come up with a average, kind of a consensus on where it goes based on all the votes. I have a way of keeping track of all the votes, so I keep track of all of them. It comes in handy later on when we actually need to rank our top 10, because once we go about 2 hours or so roughly, and then we kind of have a last minute Hail Mary sort of last chance round. I'll get you guys some quick nominations, and if there's crossovers, we'll do that. I'll kind of explain that a little further once we get there. But yeah, and then we'll be looking to put 10 in the S tier total, and then we'll have 3 honorable mentions from the A tier that will all kind of go into our poll. But the top 10, like Jordan said, we'll move on to the championship round further down the line, because we'll taking all those top 10s and throwing them into the championship, and that'll be an even crazier match once we get to that down the line. So that should be a little nutty, but but it'll be a lot of fun. We'll get that going.
And shout out to a couple of people in the chat. We got my friend April, who's a loyal viewer. She's watching almost every episode, so that's awesome. Thank you, April. And then we also have Brian Nussbaum. He's a big animation guy too, so he'll be on some of these coming up soon. We just only able to have 6 tonight, so but yeah, he'll be on the next like 1 or 2 of these probably. So, But yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll get going. So the first one that'll be up will be at the bottom of the ladder. So it'll be Chad first.
Ooh.
So Jacob, if you want to scroll down, and you can, and Chad, you can go ahead and you can pick one you want to nominate, and it can be for any tier. So
yeah, you don't even have to start with S. You can start with A. You can start with a movie you hate, and then D or F tier. But you can shoot wherever you like. So what do you want to nominate? We're going to talk.
There's some pressure here. This is the first movie of the night.
Yeah.
And I am going to start with S, because why would I start with F for the first movie of the night? I don't want to start us off that way. So I'm going to go S here. And this is very interesting because I'm picking from a trilogy here. And only I think 2 of the trilogy counts. But I am going to go with the original one. It's How to Train Your Dragon. And the reason I'm going with this one, because I've teetered actually between all 3 films in this. Oh, I'm putting it in S tier, like I said. I forgot I said that. I've teetered between all 3 of these because I think it is pretty much a perfect trilogy. And even though the 3rd one doesn't count, I was like, do I go with the first one? Do I go with the second one? I love them both pretty much equally, but I think if we're going to throw in something that may end up in a top 10 at some point, I think I am going to go with that first one, even though I do think the second one does a lot of really great things too, as a sequel. I think this first one is just so special, just like building that initial relationship with Hiccup and Toothless. Basically Hiccup being that different kind of guy that's not like everyone, but he uses those differences, like being smart and trying to build things and actually trying to befriend this creature that he knows he's supposed to hate if he follows tradition. He actually, they end up changing each other in a way and learning from each other. And then Hiccup goes on to change his entire village. And I think in today's climate where everybody's divided and everybody can't, they're trying to go back to the ways of traditional values and all this stuff. It's like, no, this is showing you that sometimes tradition is the wrong way to go. Sometimes you do need to rethink everything that you thought you knew and say, hey, am I doing the right thing here? And I think this is a very important lesson that this film teaches us. And it's, one of the greatest films ever made, and it happens to be animated. So
Yep.
I think this is a landmark success for DreamWorks, for animation in general, and just for film. I adore this movie, and S tier for me. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
And Chad, I was going to say, you wore the right shirt for tonight. If I had more of an animation, I got my Super Smash is the closest animation thing.
I had Disney and I had Pixar, and I was like, I'll go Pixar this time.
Nice.
Sounds good. Dylan, where would you throw How to Train Your Dragon? What do you think?
Yeah.
Looking at this being only 2010 to 2016, my favorite How to Train Your Dragon film is, spoiler alert, the one that came out after these two. But because this is my favorite of the ones here, and I think this is one of the best DreamWorks films, I will give it a strong A. I really like this one. It just happened to also come out in 2010, which is a year where we saw a lot of great animation. But I love the idea of like a boy and its dog, but this time it's like a boy and his cat, because Toothless is almost like has like cat-like mannerisms, the glow in the dark eyes and all that stuff. It's so cute, such a great heartwarming story. So yeah, I'll go A tier for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ace,
Well, Andres?
what do you think?
I mean, it's tough, right? Because it's definitely between A and S. There's no doubt of that. I almost feel like it definitely. I think it could fit in S for sure. I think the type of story it tells, the fact that it's the start of a trilogy, the fact that it's the start of this franchise that a lot of people know of, I think it belongs in S.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sounds good. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with S tier. I think, spoiler alert, I think all three of these movies are worthy of an S tier. I think this is one of the greatest, not only of the 2010s, but like one of the greatest animated trilogies, period.
Yes.
I think, yeah, it's a great start. I like the introduction to all these characters, and yeah, it's a nice twist on the, boy and his dog story. So
Yep.
I'll agree with S.
Yeah. Well, Austin?
Yeah, it's been a minute since I actually watched it, but I remember seeing it in IMAX, I think, and just being blown away by it. It was very cool. I think they gave Pixar a run for their money as far as for animation, because had a certain other toy franchise movie not come out this year, I think it would have won animated feature for sure.
Yeah.
But you could definitely make an argument that it might be DreamWorks' best movie. Definitely the best series since their Shrek series. And you can make an argument as well that it's Gerard Butler's best movie. I love Gerard Butler in this movie. He's great. But yeah, great cast all around. I definitely go S tier for How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think I would agree. I'd say S tier. Like, I was a little late to the How to Train Your Dragon movies because, like, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I just didn't like rush out to see him. And I know a lot of people would like say, like, yeah, like Toothless, it's just like my dog or just like my cat, and I'm kind of like, all right, well, that's fine, but it wasn't like anything that was like making me rush out to see it. But like I finally did, and man, like sleeping on How to Train Your Dragon. These movies are amazing. They're so good, and I think there's an argument to be made that maybe all of them deserve a spot in S, but we'll see. I don't know. There's some that I do like a little more than others, but this first one, yeah, I'd say that it's an S tier, and I also say it might be Jay Baruchel's best movie too. So yeah.
All right, well, we got 5 S's and an A, so it's going to stay up in S for right now where it is. So sounds good. We got our first definitive S tier. But Dylan, what would you like to nominate? What do you want to talk about?
I know Chad was like, I know what he's going to pick. So I was going to try to pick something different, but I'm just going to play to the cliche of myself. I've gone on record saying this is my favorite computer animated film, my second favorite animated film. And the reason I didn't give How to Train Your Dragon S is because I think there's a better movie that year that I like even more, and that is Toy Story 3. No surprise there. It's nominated for Best Picture. It is at the time, the culmination of 3 great movies, this amazing journey that each film coming out, so many years apart from one another, at least the second and third one. You know, the kids who grew up with the franchise were Andy's age when he was going off to college. There's something special about that, growing up with these characters. I saw it when I was a little younger than going to college, but I still resonated with it because of that. And I love this movie. I still go back to it. Even when they made the fourth one, I think the fourth one's a great epilogue to this, but this still feels like its own great, complete ending that we just got more of, which is even more amazing. But this is still my favorite in the franchise. So I would put this on the S tier. It's even slightly better for me than How to Train Your Dragon, and it's my favorite Pixar film. It's my second favorite, as I said, animated film next to The Lion King, the original one. So I'm very happy to nominate this as my S tier best film.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Ace, what do you think of Toy Story 3?
Yeah, I mean, this one's hard to argue against for sure. For anything other than S tier. So yeah, I think 100% deserves it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah, 2010 was a really solid year for animation. Both these movies are proof of that, and there's even some more on the list that could be, rated very highly. But yeah, this was a great ending to the story. I too enjoy Toy Story 4 as kind of a follow up epilogue sort of thing. But you better believe that as a 20-year-old, I was trying to be one of the first in line to watch this movie because the first two were such a big part of my childhood. Toy Story was actually the second movie I ever saw in theaters. First was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because of course it was. Yeah, no, I'll agree with S tier. I think it's one of Pixar's best. I mean, it was nominated for Best Picture for a reason. It's just that good. Like the emotions there, but it's still a lot of fun, and I absolutely agree with S tier.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin.
So a couple of months ago, I had to rewatch Toy Story 3 for something, and it had been a minute, and I knew the movie got me emotional the first time I saw it. And it wasn't so much the scene where they're, linking arms, near the fire, right? Because I kind of had a feeling, I was like, they'll find a way out of this, that they're going to survive. It was so much when going back to it, when Andy starts talking and doing his monologue, explaining why, what these toys mean to him, to the girl, like as he's kind of passing on that whole sequence. I'm rewatching it out. I'm on my job on my break trying to finish the movie, and I'm in my car bawling like a little kid on my break at work. And I was like, that was a mistake. And I had to take an extra 3 minutes before I came in to clean myself up and compose myself, because and to me, just I'm not a super big animated guy, but I never knew that a movie like that could make a it could connect you in that way. It was so cool. And just I remember the first time I seen it, just going, to any toys I left in my closet, I'm sorry. So yeah, it's a great movie, and any movie that can make me feel like that gets an S tier for me for sure.
Yeah, and Dylan, you stole my next pick. That would have been my first pick because I love Toy Story 3, and yeah, I think for me this is the best of the whole series, and there's so many interesting and unique things in it too. I kind of feel like when they're in the daycare, that's almost like a prison yard movie, because you have Lotso being the prison warden, and then you have Buzz getting thrown in the hole, and then just different things like that. They get to have some yard time out in the yard and all that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm the same way. I cry more at the same place Austin does, kind of near the end. But I mean, that the incinerator scenes is pretty heavy for an animated movie, but yeah, at the end, it's just it gets me every time. So yeah, this is an easy S tier. So I'll say S.
All right, and Chad.
S tier for damn sure. Yeah, of course. I grew up with Toy Story, just like Dylan was talking about. Me and Barber, pretty much the same age. Yes, we're 20 years old. I remember my mom taking me to see Toy Story on ice, stuff like that. So I adore this franchise. I think this is the same as How to Train Your Dragon in the way that every single movie, if someone argues is the best Toy Story movie, you just have to say yes, because they're all pretty much perfect. And this one is just incredible. It's a great capper to the trilogy, to the Andy saga. You are definitely in tears. So long, partner. And if you're not in tears, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe rewatch the movie, or maybe you're just dead inside. I don't know.
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's hilarious. When Buzz goes into Spanish mode, hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got pretty much everything. Phenomenal. The only reason I didn't shout it out because I knew Dylan wanted to. So there you go. S tier.
Yep.
All right,
Sounds
well, we got a clean sweep for the S tier, so it's at like the top of the list right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hard one to beat, so we'll
Right
see.
there
We'll
at
see
the
what
top.
happens. Oh yeah. All right, and we'll go over to Ace. Ace, what do you want to nominate first? What do you
Yeah.
got? There's a whole lot of movies here, a whole lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm a play into my cliche as well, because obviously this is what I got to do. There's so many incredible movies on here, but as the official, at least I'm declaring myself to be the official anime guy. There is one movie here that is considered to be like a top 10 of the decade on a lot of people's lists from a lot of different outlets that people who don't necessarily watch anime have gotten sucked into. And it's a movie that is one of the most beautifully animated movies of all time, one of the greatest animated movies of all time. I want to put Your Name in the S tier, a movie that kind of blew me away. And it's such an incredible mix of so many different genres, so many different storytelling structures. An absolutely, I think, perfect movie. I think I've said it a million times on Twitter when people always put that prompt as like, name your perfect movie. I think this is a perfect movie. And I really do feel like it's impacted so many people who don't watch anime and who don't watch any kind of Japanese animation. So for that reason, and for many other reasons, I'm going to put it in S tier.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right,
Jacob, what do you think?
I think we're 3 for 3 on the S tier because I absolutely agree with everything he just said. The animation is beautiful. Anime, they just have such unique stories too. Like, I challenge you to watch any anime movie and find something, that's similar to another one. Like, they're just so unique, and I love that about them. Yeah, I will absolutely agree with S tier for Your Name. For many reasons that, because in the interest of time, I won't get into, but I definitely could because I think this movie is just fantastic.
Yeah, nice. Well, Austin?
I'm not an anime guy, so I have not seen this movie. It's just not my bag. I'm just not into the anime culture, or I've seen a select few anime movies, even Studio Ghibli movies. I've only seen like a select few here and there, mostly for battleground purposes, if I had to. So yeah, I'm gonna abstain, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, like I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not a huge anime guy either, but there are a few that I've seen. I've seen 4 or 5 of them, and I've seen like one anime series. I watched Cowboy Bebop with a friend of mine because he loves that. So, but I've not seen Your Name, and like usually like I'll watch anime. There are some anime that I've watched and I really like it, actually. So if somebody recommend or will recommend it to me as like one of the top tier ones, like you guys are saying, this is one of the like top tier of the decade, then this is one of the that I'll probably go and check out, but I haven't yet, so I'll have to abstain also.
The trailer was running at the top of the IMDb, and I need this movie on 4K like immediately, just to watch, like just on visually speaking.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous movie.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
good. Chad, I saw you nodding your head. I'm assuming you've seen it. What do you think of Your Name?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen this one a couple of times. I do have to mimic basically what Ace and Barber were talking about, saying that Your Name is actually pretty incredible. And I'm kind of a basic bitch when it comes to anime as well, because I've only pretty much seen just a lot of Ghibli films. However, I did see Your Name, and I think it's pretty incredible. It's kind of a sweet coming of age sci-fi kind of tale, and then it gets really deep like towards the end, and then some of the visuals in this are absolutely incredible. So I wouldn't put it as high as Toy Story 3 or How to Train Your Dragon, but I still do think it deserves an S tier because it is just such a beautiful, I mean, it's a great 2D animated film. So, and I think a great anime and a great 2D needs to be in the S tier. So I'm gonna say S as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, I am way undereducated when it comes to anime, and it's one of my like fatal flaws. And I am glad now that we have so many people here to recommend this because I'm gonna check this one out. I just haven't seen it, but I'm excited to now. So I'm putting it on tonight after this ends.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we still did have 3 S tier or 3 votes, and they're all S tier. So
Yeah.
your name will make the cut.
Yeah.
Because usually we need at least 3 S's to kind of scoot it in there at least, even if there's other votes. But yeah, a clean sweep for the votes we do have. So your name will stay in there. For sure. All right. Sounds good. We'll go to Jacob, our tier master himself. So what are you going to scoot up there?
Yeah. I'm just gonna do it because I think it's inevitable. Cars 2. There you go.
Yep.
I'll sacrifice my turn because I just think this needs to be done.
You should have done that, Jacob. I would have done that for you. You can talk
I
about
know
a good
you
movie.
would have, but I would love to voice my displeasure about this movie.
right.
I am someone who does not dislike Cars or Cars 3. I think Cars 3 is actually really good. But Cars 2, I think, is a big misfire, making Mater the main character in like this sort of James Bond-esque spy, whatever. It's not funny. I don't think Mater is a good main character. He's a fine side character. I like him as the sidekick, but putting him front and center was just a horrible misfire. And I love Pixar, but this is always going to be like the black mark on their record. Like most of their movies are great, and then Cars 2 is also there. So Cars 2 F, because I don't know why this should have been like a direct to DVD thing, and they only did it because the toys are popular and they want to make money, obviously. So which I mean, I'm not knocking them. If I was in their shoes, let's make some money, but let's also try to put out quality content.
You said this is inevitable. Were you hoping Thanos would just snap it out of existence?
Maybe.
Well, Chad, it's funny you should say that because we had a battleground match that I had to argue where it was about which Pixar movie should just not have existed ever.
Yeah.
And I made an argument that Cars 2 should not exist because of what it did for the Pixar reputation. Because up until that point, if you do the research, every one of their movies was both a commercial and a critical hit. And it was a flawless record up until that point. And then this blatant cash grab comes along and has no heart. It has none of that Pixar stamp of quality on there, and forever kind of tarnished the reputation. Until that point, they were flawless. And you watch this movie, and you're like, I can't believe this is the same studio. Like Jacob said, you got a side character that should not be the main character. I'm fine with him as the side character, popping in every now and then for some jokes. It's fine. I don't hate the first Cars movie, but this one is boring. It's too long. It's convoluted and complicated if you're trying to do it towards children because it's like this weird spy storyline. It's a bad movie that should not exist. And if you were going to do a Cars sequel, I'm fine with them doing sequels. Obviously, they did Toy Story sequels, and it was great. But put more effort into in this. This movie's the pits. I agree with that tier.
Yeah. Well, we'll say that there is one good thing to come out of Cars 2 is that at Disneyland you get to go to Radiator Springs, so that's cool. Like that land's really awesome. But beyond that, as far as the movies go, it's not good. Yeah, it's just like all over the place. Kind of like Austin said, there's not a lot of heart to it, not a lot of like story that I really care about. I mean, it's fun on I guess a very, very surface level, but it's, compared to any other movies on this list, and especially Pixar movies, I gotta say, it's bad. It deserves an F. Yeah, it's not good. So,
all right, Chad.
No, I mean I definitely agree here. I'm not going to be the one defender of Cars 2. It is mostly the Mater choice because like watching through Pixar, I did it recently when Dylan and I were actually studying for trivia, and I had to watch Cars 2 and Cars 1. I think it's also kind of like the same thing, and these might come up later, but like Frozen 2, the same thing is like Olaf is like really fine in the first movie, but the second one he's he's got his own song. He's just doing so much, and it really doesn't matter for the plot of the movie. And it's just like when you take like your most annoying character and you have him like, in small doses in the first one, then you're like, hey, let's take that character and blow him up in the second one. He's got like such a huge role. It was such a weird decision, and it's like it's just so obnoxious the entire film. And in the first movie, Mater actually kind of has a sweet little arc. I mean, he's still annoying, but like well, not sweet little arc for him, but for Owen Wilson. But yeah, he's kind of like a sympathetic character in the first one. The second one, you just hate him, and it's just like none of the plot I really remember either. It's just a really unforgettable, annoying movie that you wish you could forget. So F for sure, definitely.
Yeah, sounds good. Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, when I was like, I was thinking of doing like the unconventional choice and not picking Toy Story 3. I was gonna do this. I was gonna put Cars in F tier. So Cars 2 in the F tier. So thank you, Jacob. Yeah, this is my least favorite. It's not the worst movie ever made because it's still Pixar animation, so like some of the visuals look fine. But like when people ask me what my least favorite movie is, I always tell them it's this. Just it makes me the most angry, the most annoyed, because of what you said, Austin, with the whole build up of how successful the brand was. Like Toy Story 3 wins the Oscar, gets nominated for Best Picture. The very next year they put this crap out. So and I agree. Like I don't think they've truly they've had their bright spots since, but like they are not the same Pixar they were before Cars 2. I feel like this is almost like the Armageddon of Pixar, in the sense of like I think everything after this has been good, but like maybe save for like 2 or 3 movies. I feel like most films after this, at least the next few years, were kind of like people were in and out of them in terms of quality. So I blame Cars 2 a lot for that. But
yeah. Well, Ace, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to argue against this one too, in the position that it's in right now. Yeah, being the worst Pixar movie or being one of the worst Pixar movies is definitely not a good thing when you're bringing down the brand of what is known to be automatic quality, right? So yeah, this is definitely up there with I think quite a few animated movies during this time period that were pretty annoying and not very substantial. So
yeah. Yeah. So
all right. Well, I think
it's
it's unanimous for Cars 2 down in the trash pile. Sounds good to me. All right, so we're going
Right,
on
Austin.
to myself. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the movie I really enjoy, and I'm not really like a super animated guy. I see some decent amount of them, but I really like, and I think it's another franchise that's been exploited for money over the last 10, 12 years. And it's kind of right, but I don't think it's really taken away from the quality. And that's the original Despicable Me. I really love the original Despicable Me. It's a movie that I've gone back to like a decent amount of times, just because I really dig in the original one. Again, putting the focus on sort of this villain character, but he's really silly villain, over the top. But really, I think the crux of the movie, where it's really well written, is the relationship he has with the 3 girls he adopts, with Margot and Agnes and Edith. And I think it's a really sweet story there. The voice acting is great. I really like what Steve Carell is doing. Again, they've exploited this franchise for every dollar you can exploit it out, continuing even this past year with Minions: The Rise of Gru. But I think when you go back in this movie, they still work. I like the Minions when they're just kind of pop in and out of the movie, for a few little scenes and then pop back out. But yeah, I love Despicable Me, and I think it people kind of forget how good the original one was because of where the franchise has gone. So yeah, I'm gonna nominate the original Despicable Me.
And yeah, I'll actually agree with you there. Yeah, like I remember when the first trailers came out. I remember seeing the trailer where it like runs up the pyramid and you're not supposed to be on the pyramid, or like the little girl does. She's like chasing like the balloon up the pyramid or something like that. And yeah, like I'm a big fan of the Despicable Me movies. I'm not a big fan of the Minions movies. I think the Minions, and like you said, they should remain as side characters, but Despicable Me is great. I think Steve Carell did a great job and has a lot of heart to it with the 3 little girls, and like it's so fluffy. Like everybody quotes that, and yeah, like I think that it's a fun time. There's a lot of humor. It's a good kind of villain story where he becomes almost kind of like an anti-hero in a way. So yeah, I'll say S tier. Yeah, I'll agree. Chad, what do you think?
So I'm not. I agree that this is definitely a good movie, but I'm not as high on it as you guys are. And so I was thinking, do I do A or B with this? Because I do think it might be sort of A, but then I'm like, you guys both went S, so then I'm like, I don't think it's S, but I can't go lower than B on it because I do think it is a good movie. I do enjoy it. I do think it gets worse in the sequels. I think some people try to defend its sequel, like say it's really, really great, but I do think the first one is the best one of these. I haven't seen the most recent like Minions movie or whatever that people like. But yeah, I do think Steve Carell is good in this, doing that voice. You would think that could probably get annoying, and it doesn't really. And the Minions, yeah, aren't unbearable in this. I don't know. Dylan may disagree. I'm not sure, but yeah, the relationship with him and like the little girls is very, very sweet. They kind of soften him up a little bit. I think it's very cute. But yeah, I'm gonna go very high B tier on this.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out Brian with all the fun facts over in the chat. He says Julie Andrews' mom, dated Gru's mom. So yeah, but yeah, and if you read there, he's got a bunch of other ones. But Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this one is the best of the series. The last one that just came out in theaters, I surprisingly liked. I think it's because my expectations were so low. I really don't like the Minions. I was in charge of music directing a children's theater camp at the height of Minions hype. So every kid had a Minions backpack, every kid had Minion toys, doing Minionese little gibberish with one another. It was so annoying to the point where I kind of had a vendetta against the series. But rewatching this first one, I do think it's got a good heart, especially with Gru and the kids. So I'm gonna give it a B because I think it's the best of that series. But I still think the Minions just bring such a sour taste. For me personally, not as much as it used to. Having seen the new one, I've grown a little bit, self-growth, but I do think this is a good solid B tier movie for me.
I knew that about
him. Well, just I tried working in a movie theater during the Minions movie when you got to go clean it and you got to rewatch that end credit scene where they're singing some kind of Beatles song and gibberish over and over and over again. It's like someone shoot me. Yeah, it gets annoying, but Ace.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of people have some Minion PTSD in this group, and I can't lie, I'm one of them. I don't like the Minions at all, and Despicable Me, I actually think it's okay. I don't think it's bad necessarily, but I definitely don't. I wouldn't put it in S tier. I'd probably agree with Dylan and Chad and say B. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
man, you guys really aren't gonna like where I put Frozen.
yeah.
I don't want to get there, Jacob.
I kind of love this franchise, even the Minions. I just kind of like it all. I think they're fun characters, and I think this one starts it off pretty well. Just kind of the change you see in Gru, that the three girls causing them, and it evolves over the series. I don't mind the Minions movies. I do agree that they should stay side characters, but I also didn't mind the movies, which is why I think the newest one is kind of better, because they are kind of it's that prequel to this movie where you see Gru's kind of back in the forefront, but no, I kind of love this movie, and I'm going to agree with S.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right, so it's split literally. It was 3 S's, 3 B's though. It's literally right down the middle, so it's probably
going to stay in the S, or
nah, it's probably going to skirt into A. Unfortunately, it's going to be right in the middle. It's fair. 3 A's, 3 B's, or excuse me, 3 S's, 3 B's. Literally cut it right in the middle. So yeah,
couldn't it be an honorable mention?
We'll see.
Yeah, we usually have 3 honorable mentions. So
or if we'll see how many more get in the top 10. It could get a bump later. We don't know. We'll see. So we'll see how it plays out. But Jordan, what's your first nomination?
Yeah, so I want to go with one that was one of my biggest surprises when it came out. I didn't really expect much from it, and I went and saw it with a friend of mine who's really kind of into this type of thing, which is the Lego movie. So one of my best friends, he's a mechanical engineer, and he's just building all kinds of things. And he grew up with Legos. He has all, like every Lego set you can imagine. And I am kind of more the movie guy over him. He doesn't see as many movies, but I'm like, this movie was like made for my buddy Mark. Like it's made for him. So I dragged him out to the theater. I made him watch it with me, and he loved it. And then afterwards, he took his kids to go see it. And yeah, like I think that it's great. I think that who would have thought just like a movie about just Legos and toys? I mean, they have video games and even had some well before this movie came out, but. And then the voice cast is just great too, and they represent a lot of different properties. I mean, you have some DC with Batman, like Green Lantern showing up, the Joker. You got some of those, and then but then also, like I thought Chris Pratt was great. I thought Liam Neeson was great as a good cop, bad cop in it, and then also Will Ferrell being a pretty great villain and a human character too, which was fun to see too, and I thought that Phil Lord and Chris Miller, like that, they've been killing it. Like they 22 Jump Street. They wrote most of Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, yeah. So like they have a pretty good track record for me. That Cloud with the Chain, it's the other one that I love. So yeah, I'll say S tier for the Lego movie. So Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll definitely say S for the Lego movie as well, because I mean it was such a surprise. I like remember the conversation around as people were like, "This is gonna be dumb," and then as soon as it came out, like everyone was surprised. Like this is a blast of a film. It's hilarious. You know, people weren't like all on the Chris Pratt hate train then, so you know people actually really adored him in this movie, and he was so funny. You know, when he's like, "Oh, it's very big in here. I must be smart." And just like all these like really just like funny stuff. You have Charlie Day. Is that the name? Yeah, Charlie Day. Doing spaceship, you know, and Bill Arnett doing the Batman stuff. And then he got his own freaking Lego movie, which was pretty also pretty great. You know, I can't, it's been a while since I've seen it. I don't remember like all of the actual like if there's like a lot of great like emotional, actually I do remember the emotional bits between the actual like real life Will Ferrell and his kid and stuff like that. And it's like throwing like a weird like live action inside of the animated movies is just really cool and meta, and just like, you know, talking about like, you know, adults playing with, you know, toys, and it's like, well, you know, play with your kid and let your kid, you know, stop treating everything so seriously and stuff like that. Yeah, it has a lot to say. It's really funny. It's really well animated. You know, the Lonely Island cranking out a banger with everything is awesome. Is just amazing. Yeah, it's just a whole package of a film, and it's incredible. And then Liam Neeson with the good cop, bad cop guy. I don't know. You could just start mentioning a lot of different stuff because there's so much crammed in it, and everything's great. So S tier.
You could say everything is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's a lot of jokes too. Like it's one of those ones that like you kind of want to rewatch because it's like joke that you want to go back and like try to catch them all too. So yeah,
like Pokemon. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. But Dylan, what do you think from the Lego movie?
Yeah, this is the prime example of like a premise isn't failed if you have the right people behind it. Like I think a lot of movies like this fail because, you know, they're mainly cash grabs. They're things meant to just get kids in seats and make money. Like the Emoji Movie comes to mind. I don't even know if that's eligible on here. But like that's the exact antithesis of this. This is something that probably shouldn't have worked, but I think because of the talent behind it, I think it really did. So I would say, yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but I'd say S tier because I think for its kind, like there's nothing else like it. So I think it is the S. It is the superior film of its kind. So I'd say S.
Yeah, sounds good. Ace, what do you think?
Yeah, it's good that you brought up Lord and Miller because I really do feel like they nail the animation genre for sure with what they're doing and what they've done. I'm glad you said this one because I was going to say this one next. I love the Lego movie so much. I think it's hysterical. It goes 100 miles an hour with all the comedy bits and the pieces inside the movie. So many different properties in it too, like DC and Star Wars, like you mentioned before. So yeah, it's still such a quotable movie that I think it's really interesting to see in retrospect to think about this one. So absolutely S tier.
Yeah. Jacob, what do you think?
Oh, everything is awesome makes this S tier alone. That song is a banger.
Yeah.
The movie itself is also, I think, yeah, S tier. Like the premise shouldn't work. A movie about Lego characters, but the characters they get and the voices the voice cast they get, just makes this movie work. And yeah, it's just such a fun time. It was a big surprise. I've liked most of the sequels that they and spin-offs that they've done. But if this one wasn't such a big success, we wouldn't have gotten those. So yeah, I'll agree with S tier for the Lego movie.
Yeah. And Austin?
I might be the lone A vote on this one, just because this movie's exhausting to watch. This movie's I feel like I need to catch my breath after this movie. There's so much going on, especially the spinoff. Man, the Lego Batman movie gives me such a migraine to watch. There's just like 80,000 things going on screen all the time, and it's kind of exhausting. But this one's a little bit more, calm when they came out of the gate. And yeah, I do like it. I do think there's some good material here. I like when Batman is just a side character as well, like in this movie when he's just kind of popping in and out, making fun jokes. And I like the Morgan Freeman character. He's a lot of fun. But yeah, I still like the movie a lot. I'm just not like as high on it as the entire world. So I'll be the lone A vote, but I still think it's very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still 5S and an A. It'll be in the S tier. So
yeah,
that'll be up there. All right, we're making good time. We're back at the bottom of the ladder. Chad, what's your next nomination?
Yeah, so I nominated one that I think is perfect, and most people tend to agree with How to Train Your Dragon. So I'm going to go with one that is personal. Well, not like personal in the way that I grew up with it or anything, but because it did come out in this time period, and I was like in college and later in this time period. But this is one that not a lot of people bring up. And then not a lot of people talk about the studio that much, and I think it deserves more. And this is, I believe, the first stop motion film on the list. Wait, no, was the Lego Movie technically stop motion?
Oh yeah, I mean, technically, yeah.
Whatever. This is a great stop motion film, and it's an Aardman one. I'm bringing up Shaun the Sheep, the movie. This one actually just blew me away. I'm not sure how many people have seen this one. I'm not sure how many people love this one, but I'm putting it S tier because I think this one is perfect for what it does. If you look at stop motion, it's just kind of a banger of a movie. Like the way they have basically no dialogue in this movie, I just love stuff like that when you can just tell everything through visuals and just like little noises that the characters make. And it's just a really cool movie. Like Aardman, just when they have like a Wallace and Gromit, like the Curse the Were-Rabbit, Shaun the Sheep, they just really know how to do like action in their stop motion. And it's like, no, we're not just gonna make like this stop motion movie, because it's stop motion's hard, but we're gonna actually make it look like you've never seen it before. And I think it's so fun. You never know where it's going to go. It's basically them, going to the city to, I think, save their farm. It's actually been a while since I've seen it, but I really adore this movie, and I just think it's like the best of its kind. It's like that and maybe Chicken Run are just so fantastic. So
we're getting a sequel to Chicken Run this year. Kind of interesting.
Oh, I'm excited for that because that's a fantastic movie too. But yeah, I think Shaun the Sheep is the best of its kind. It may be the best like stop motion animated film in my opinion. So yeah, that's here.
All right.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, Dylan.
Yeah, I've seen this once when it came out, so I don't really remember it enough to put it higher than just a C, because for me C is average, and it was an average movie when I saw it. Like I liked it a lot, but I didn't feel compelled to call it like the best of yet. But I think Chad bringing it up makes me want to rewatch it. So I'd put it at C. It's just kind of like in the middle for me. But I will say I have an Aardman film that I might bring up soon that I really, really do like. So we'll bring that up in a sec. But I want to go see this though. Yeah. Or see it again. I saw it so long ago, so I'll give it a C.
Yeah. Well, Ace, what do you think?
Yeah. it's tough disagreeing with people who want to see it in the S tier. But going off my opinion, I probably go closer to B or A based off what I remember from this movie as well. I do remember watching this one, and I do remember the Shaun the Sheep movies in general and the premises of it. So it's definitely got a lot of good in it. I just feel like overall there might be some better ones on the list. So I'll put it in B for now.
Yeah. Jacob, what do you think?
Well, Chad, I'm in agreement with you. I think this movie is fantastic. I've seen this at least 3 or 4 times, and yeah, just the way they're able to portray so much emotion with no dialogue, I think is really good. It's quite funny actually. I laughed quite a few times watching it, and so yeah, I mean, I love stop motion, and I think this is one of the better ones. I wouldn't say like the best of its kind, but it's definitely like a top 5 stop motion for me, like period. And so, I think it is the best of this time period, in my opinion. So, I'll go S tier.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm Austin. What do you think?
So surprisingly, as the guy who doesn't see a lot of animated stuff, I think Shaun the Sheep movie kind of rules. I think this movie's awesome. I dig like sort of silent movie, sort of slapstick comedy, and like Benny Hill type stuff. And this movie's totally up my alley because that's all it is. There's not really any dialogue. It's just like all this kind of goofy shit going on. Like I even watched that like Rabbids like TV show for a little while just because that's all that is. It's just like not like goofy slapstick like nonsense. And like yeah, I kind of like that studio as well. The stuff they crank out with with Wallace and Gromit. I even like that movie Flushed Away they did. I kind of like that movie too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's not as high up, but I kind of dig it. So I like this movie a lot. I'm gonna go S tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think something that really works for me when I go to see a movie, and I need to learn to do it more often. I need to go in with just low expectations. Because when I go into a movie with low expectations, like I usually end up really, really surprised, and my expectations go from here to here. Because there's a couple other movies on this list I went in with high expectations. And I'm kind of like, it didn't really meet my expectations, but I had them set pretty high. But for this one, I went in low because I didn't really expect much. I'm like, what is this? I've heard it that has like almost no dialogue, and like I don't know if it's gonna be up my alley, but you know what? I love this movie. Like I think it's an S tier. Like this movie is so much fun, and yeah, just like some of the slapstick kind of comedy, and it's got heart, even though there's really no dialogue, and yeah, like I think that it works really, really well, and it's really well made too. Like it's not something that you just go in there and you're like, what the heck am I watching? This is stupid. It's actually a lot of fun. So yeah, I would actually say S tier. So
wow. So we have 4 S's and a B and a C. So actually the 4 is gonna keep it up there. Now it might not end up obviously at the top of S tier, might end up in the lower S tier when it's all shaping out, but 4 is usually enough to kind of get it up in there and stick it. So
we got it in there.
Yeah,
The fact that it's in there at all is
it's gonna stick.
I don't care what else happens now.
I didn't know what to expect from that one, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
There you go. Hey, you can be pleasantly. Trust me, I've had some that I bring up that I'm like, there's no way people are going to agree with me. At the end of the day.
Right.
All right, Dylan, we're back up to you.
Okay, I kind of want to go for like some more like niche picks, but like I've got to pick one. We don't have any. We have Disney Pixar represented, but we don't have Disney. And I got to pick one of my top 5 Disney movies of all time, also in that trifecta with Toy Story 3 and How to Train Your Dragon of a 2010 film. I'm picking Tangled as an S tier film. I think Tangled is not just one of the great princess movies, but like one of the great movies of the past few decades. I just think it's so the way it takes such a kind of base level story and like really enhances it with great action and comedy, great side characters. I mean, every character has their own memorable, iconic bit. Even the little side characters in the saloon, their little song. I think all the music's great. The villain is amazing because it's not this like maniacal, like in your face villain. It's someone who's very manipulative, kind of behind the scenes, kind of gaslights her, which I think is such an interesting villain nowadays. And yeah, I love the story. I think it's awesome how it kind of like breaks the expectations. You know, her literally cutting her hair off at the end, and she's like this brunette at the end. Like that kind of goes against the traditional Disney ending of everything's perfect. Like it's kind of defying that perfect image and kind of breaking down the barriers of fairy tale storytelling. So I love this movie so much. So it's an S tier for me. That sequence with the lanterns is probably my favorite on this whole list of scenes in any of these movies. So that's an S for me.
It's good to know.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this pick. Yeah, I really like this pick because I'd agree with S tier for sure. It's interesting because the first thing I think about when I think of this movie is the song, right? That duet they sing. I think it's "See the Light" or "The Light."
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of the best modern Disney songs, like of all time, at least for when it comes to the last 20 years, in my opinion. So I definitely feel like Tangled deserves to be up there. Also, the shots in the movie, the iconography is really interesting because obviously everyone remembers the swords out, him in the middle shot, which I think Kevin Durant still has as his Twitter profile picture. But stuff like that is where like even Kevin Durant is like, remembering this movie in that scene. So I think it's kind of that interesting moment where it can cross pop culture references. So yeah, I agree with us.
Yeah. Jacob, what do you think?
Well, I think my favorites of the decade just keep getting picked because I love Tangled. I think this movie is incredible. I love the voice cast. I love the story. The music is great. The opening song, "When Will My Life Begin," is just a great introduction to the character. Flynn Rider is a fun character, or Eugene, whatever you want to call him. You can choose his name, I guess, but yeah, and then that duet, like I think that's one of the best like just Disney songs, period. Like I think it's great. Yeah, I love Tangled. It's not my favorite Disney of the decade, maybe foreshadowing a future pick, but it's definitely up there, and I agree with S tier because I think this movie is just wonderful.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin.
So I know I've seen this movie through pieces because my ex used to watch this movie a lot, and I never really was like paying attention. I was just kind of in the room, so I don't know if I ever actually like sat down and watched it start to finish. In that case, I think I'm just gonna have to abstain from this one because I don't think I've actually sat down and watched it start to finish. So I'm gonna abstain.
Yeah, well, this movie kind of holds a special place in my heart because that's. The main character reminds me a lot of my sister. She has really long hair that's like down past her butt that she's like pretty proud of, and she even kind of looks like the character a little bit, and yeah, we did this thing. So one of the girls that I dated for a while, she passed away from cancer, and so we did a little thing at my dad's work. He works for Scentsy. They make those little candle warmers, the little wickless candle warmers, and he's one of their like corporate like finance guys there. And so at their big company party, they had Andy Grammer there actually, and my sister got to go up on stage. Now granted, is with a choir, so she was with multiple people up there, but she got to sing on stage with them. And we did a thing where you can donate some money to people who have died of cancer to the foundation that they had there, and then they lit off some lanterns in the sky, and then they played one of Andy Grammer's songs, but then at the end they transitioned into "Now I See the Light." So that was like a really cool moment to do something like that in person. That was a lot of fun, and yeah, the movie's just great. Like I think, I'm a big Zach Levi fan, so I thought he was perfect for Flynn Rider. Mandy Moore, you get someone who can actually sing really well, so that helps. And yeah, like even little things like I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan. I don't know if you can see the little key sword that I have here, but then like in the third one, you get to go in the Tangled world, and that's like one of the most fun ones, I think, like surprisingly. And so yeah, it's I'm a big fan of Tangled, so I'll say easy S for me.
All right. And Chad?
Yeah.
Sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna plug my channel because Austin and Dylan have both been on it, ranking things. We did a big Disney animated ranking. We ranked all 61 Disney proper animated films. It was such a task. Took us 5.5 hours, and it was. I released it that way too. Just 5.5 hours of us ranking, and it was very fun. I had this one at like number 22. I think. I think I'm more of a warm than hot on this movie. I think it is great. But I'm more of an A tier on Tangled. I have the potential to get up to an S tier on this one, but yeah, I don't. I kind of think I'm with Barber on there, where I think there's other ones around the same time that I actually really enjoy a lot more. But this one is definitely fantastic. My nieces love it. So there you go. It's yeah, a lot of what Dylan was saying about like the gaslighting and stuff like that, I think is pretty incredible for like, you know, a Disney movie that they maybe did like a little bit better than, you know, in like the original like Cinderella and stuff like that, with the stepmother didn't end up being a stepmother actually, but you know, more of a kidnapping. But it's very funny, fast paced. Like I love all the stuff with the hair and the, you know, seedy people in the bar is really funny, and you know, Flynn is really great. And then I just love like the kind of the end is very sweet, where it's like these parents that had their daughter kidnapped finally get her back, and it's just, you think about all that lost time, and I just like get, you know, emotional about that. But you know, it's definitely really great. I just, yeah, for me, I'll throw this in a very high A tier that could end up being an S for me at some point. But
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we got 4 S's and an A, so that's enough to keep it up there for now. So it will. Yeah, sounds good. We'll go back to Ace. Yeah.
And sorry, my channel's called Chadwick Webb. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll stick with man, every time you want to pick one, you just never know what people think. But I'll stick with Disney here, and go with a movie that hit the nostalgia chord just the perfect amount. And I'll pick Wreck-It Ralph.
Damn, you stole my pick. Son of a bitch, you stole my pick.
Same, yeah, that would have been mine too.
I'll pick it as my S tier. Yeah, again, as I said, this nostalgia, arcades, video games, especially during my era, growing up in the 90s, which is what I did. This was kind of the style that I grew up with. And I just feel like overall, too, besides that, it also has a lot of variety in it when it comes to the characters, when it comes to the storyline, when it comes to the complete arc of it as well. So I think Wreck-It Ralph overall is definitely one of my favorite newer Disney movies. And it's so different from anything we've seen before that I feel like it just deserves to have a little bit more recognition.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Wreck-It Ralph, but I'm not as high on it as most people. I do think it's fun. It's kind of all the different video game worlds, but it's just not one that I've gone back to, which is weird because I do like playing games, and so I thought it would resonate with me a lot more, and I would like it more. But I don't know what it is about it, but it's not one that like I'm just like, hey, I'm in the mood for an animated movie. Why not Wreck-It Ralph? It's just not one that I'm going back to. But I'm not like super low on it either. I'm like kind of right in the middle. So I'll give it a B.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph rules. This movie's awesome, and this movie's so much fun. Another one that, I don't go back to a lot of animated movies, but I definitely go back to Wreck-It Ralph. It definitely brings out that sort of like Donkey Kong, nostalgia. I remember getting to play at like some conventions. People had made actual console versions of Wreck-It Ralph, like because it's so similar to Donkey Kong. It's a ton of fun. My favorite character is actually Alan Tudyk's King Candy, just because he's clearly channeling Ed Wynn, like from Mary Poppins, like his Uncle Albert. Just it's so wonderful for all of you to be here. And it's
That's a good impression.
He 100% went full Ed Wynn, Mary Poppins on that thing, and it was such a nice thing. When I heard it, I was like, he's got to be a fan of Mary Poppins. Like, there's no other reason he would do that particular voice and that particular style. But it's so much fun, and I dig the relationship between John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman. It's good stuff all around. And Jane Lynch is great as the kind of Halo commander sort of, lady. Like, she's awesome. Like, it's a nice little role for her. So no, I did get Wreck-It Ralph, man. It's S tier for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll also give it an S tier. I think Wreck-It Ralph's awesome. Like, I like this one. I like the sequel just as much, if not maybe even more. But yeah, I think that's so much fun when they play off the nostalgia. Like, I like when they have the little villains meeting, like when they have Zangief, he's like, just because you are a bad guy doesn't mean you are a bad guy, and so, and just all the voice casting, like some voices that maybe wouldn't work in other capacities that work really well here, like Jack McBrayer for Fix It Felix, Sarah Silverman for Vanellope works great. John C. Reilly, like they all work really well. And I'm a big Jane Lynch fan too, so her being the Sergeant Calhoun and like doing the whole hero's duty game, like that's a lot of fun too. So, and it's got a lot of heart, a lot of comedy. Just it's a fun time. So yeah, I say it's an easy S for me. So,
all right, Chad.
Yeah, I totally agree. This was my number 5 in all of Disney animated. I love this movie. I adore it so much. I agree, it's the total package for like video game fans. Just any type of video game, old school, arcade, newer kind of shoot 'em ups. Whatever. The Sonic cameo. All that stuff. It's just fantastic to see. But then you get this like one guy who's like, the villain of his story. And then he's like, but why does it have to be that way? Why can't I be a hero sometimes? Why can't I be invited to the party? And, and then he goes and, tries so hard to just get a medal so he can prove he's like freaking worth something. He doesn't have to just sleep in the trash pile all the time. And, just to find out that, he can be the hero. And then when everybody finds out that, where'd Ralph go? It turns out we can't have this game without Ralph. So kind of a thing. It's just all of the interesting like ways they devised how this world could work, like traveling through the power cables and all this really cool stuff, like the central hub where everybody meets up. And then they even do some really cool stuff in the sequel as well with like Wi-Fi and routers and all this stuff is really cool. But then the relationship between Ralph and Vanellope is just so special. They develop it more in the sequel, and it's just so great. I just love how it's like, he's trying so hard to be like the hero to all these people who don't even want him. And then when he gets the whole thing about like Vanellope saying, "You're my hero," and that's just so special to him. And it's just, I know that's just enough to like melt your heart right there. And, it's such a special film. I love it. S tier for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Dylan,
Yeah, I love this movie. I think the animation's dazzling. I love when a movie like really spends its time building a world, and like, yes, it's a world we all know, it's video games, but like the way they just create that whole Game Central station with the power strip and all the different outlet plugs, and it's just so interesting and so engaging. I'm gonna give this an A only because like Tangled is like my S Disney for the era, and like I also don't know. Sometimes I prefer to watch the sequel even more than this one, but I still love it so much. So I'm giving it a strong A. I love this movie.
Yeah, if you ever want to see me freak out like a little kid, like I went to Disney World during Halloween time, and like they had one of the coolest parades. Like I was shocked how awesome that it was. They have a whole thing with like the headless horseman that like runs through it at the beginning. And they have all this smoke, and then you wait for and like every single Disney character you can imagine comes out these towering floats. And like one of the ones, like for whatever reason, it just got me when they had Vanellope. She comes out on like a big kind of like giant tricycle thing with like candy, and she's like just like shouting out to the crowd, throwing candy and everything. Like I was like a like 12-year-old kid again. I'm just like I don't know, like I didn't like expect myself to really get that like excited over this parade, but like the really cool music and like really cool dancing, the choreography is really cool. So I would recommend if you ever get a chance to go during Halloween time, like it's worth it for sure. So
All right, well, that one, Wreck-It Ralph had 4 S's, A and a B, so the 4 will be enough to, again, let it hang on for right now. So yeah, it'll hang on. But man, that S tier is getting crowded real quick. We'll see what happens. And we can only have 10, so some of these might get bumped if they're that's stacked. We're gonna see what happens. So I'm interested to see. But yeah, we're going over to Jacob.
Jacob
now. Yep.
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
Gotta cue them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm interested to see what people think about The Good Dinosaur. Because while I don't think it's quite on the level of Cars 2, I don't think it's that much better either. Now, this seems like it was a movie that they just wanted to put out a movie. It's a dinosaur and a kid, and the dinosaur is trying to find his parents. I feel like this is like the most geared towards children Pixar movie that there is. The animation isn't up to the the Pixar level, especially for I believe it's 2015 when this movie came out. Some of the animation just didn't do it for me. I mean, you just look at the dinosaur and like when I think of Pixar, that's not the animation that I think of, because they've done some really good animation. The story just doesn't interest me. It just feels like they needed a movie and they were like, all right, this is what we got. Let's put it out there. So I'll go D tier just because there's really nothing memorable about it. It's just I think I think Cars 2 is the worst of the Pixar. I think The Good Dinosaur might be like the most forgotten Pixar. So I'll pitch D for Dinosaur.
Sounds good to me, Jacob. I'll go T for Dinosaur because I think I only watched it when we were doing our Pixar ranking for our Patreon episode. And it's not as offensively bad as Cars 2 is. It's just boring. This movie's just boring. It's just kind of bland. It's not the worst movie I ever saw, but Land Before Time did it way, way better. And it's essentially kind of the same movie. And then get excited, everybody, because the director of Good Dinosaur is doing Elemental this year. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe he can redeem him. Maybe he can redeem himself, Peter Stone. Yeah. So, I'll go D. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to, for a second, see if I could pull out one of my posters for the that I got when I worked at a movie theater, because I actually would disagree about the animation. I think the animation is great in this. Especially there's a scene where they have all these fireflies come out and it's dark and they're kind of glowing everywhere. And they have a poster that shows that I have somewhere. I just got to dig it up because I had collected about 100 different one sheet movie posters when I worked at the movie theaters. But I think that's really, really good. And I mean, but the rest of the movie, not so much. Yeah, the rest of the movie is kind of boring, kind of just pretty one note. It's just, I don't know, nothing that exciting. And it is more on the kid friendly side. But the animation for me, I think really bumps it up for me. I think that's great. I would even give it a C. I think I'm not as low on the Good Dinosaur as a lot of people. So.
I'll clarify. When I say the animation, I mean the dinosaurs and the people. That seems very
The dinosaurs look like Scud from the original Toy Story, the dog. It looked like it hadn't improved in 20 years. The noses, and
the scene you referenced, Jordan. I will agree with that. Yeah, but the dinosaurs and the human, nah.
Yeah, it's one that just for that scene alone, I want to see in 3D, and I usually don't do 3D, and it actually kind of worked. But Chad, what do you think?
I'm gonna keep this one short. I have never seen The Good Dinosaur. It's the only Pixar movie I haven't seen, and it's just because I think right around that specific time I just really wasn't into I guess watching every Disney animated or Pixar animated movie. And then I just never got around to it because of the word of mouth of people saying it's boring and it's not good and skip that one, stuff like that. But I will be ranking Pixar at some point. I will get to it, and I'll see what I think then, but haven't seen.
Okay.
Well, if you go over to our Patreon, I'll do a little selfless plug. You go to patreon.com/movie hero. We did rank all the Pixar movies, so you can see that over there. We did a tier ranker, so yeah, but you got to be a Patreon member to see it. So, but Dylan,
Yeah, I don't hate this one quite like other people do. I think it's an interesting swing for Pixar to try to do like something a little bit more, moody, less story driven, something like Pixar's version of a Western. I do agree with Jacob in the fact that the animation of the characters I don't enjoy, but I agree with Jordan in the fact that like the actual landscapes and all the like atmospheric stuff is really, really well done. I think it looks really nice, the photorealism. But yeah, the story isn't anything that special. I still think it's solid. It's fine. So I'm gonna give it like a C. It's average for me. It's not great. It's not bad. It's somewhere in the middle. So I'm giving it a C.
yeah. Well, Brian over in the chat says F, so he's on that train. But Ace, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely. I'm leaning towards C as well. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. I just think it might have been a little bit of the hype. Also, the trailer might have helped with that as well. But I think it's around the C level when it comes to quality for sure.
Yeah. Well, what are the votes on?
So it is 3 C's and 2 D's. So despite Jacob's efforts, it actually gets a bump up.
Yeah, it gets a bump up
into the C tier. So there you go.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, Austin.
So I'm actually, speaking of trailers, I'm going to point out a movie that had an awesome marketing campaign and a great trailer, and was just so disappointing, and I was so not with about halfway through. I'm going to talk about Sausage Party.
Yeah.
So a movie that had an amazing trailer, like ripping on, had things ripping on like Saving Private Ryan, and like had these weird twists and turns where they were all getting, chopped up and obliterated. And I was like, this movie's going to be awesome. It's like, it's an R-rated thing from a lot of the sort of that Apatow company and everything. And then I was just so like disappointed in this movie. It was just so proud of itself. I don't know how else to describe it. It was like so yeah, I'm going to start with C tier on Sausage Party because I do think it has a couple of redeeming qualities, but I just remember like being like halfway through the movie and it being kind of boring, like halfway through, and I was just kind of over it. And I don't know, the scene at the end where they have the giant food orgy is kind of insane and fun for what it is. Just they finally kind of exploit the premise, and then oddly enough, it's this weird movie about religion and atheism and stuff. It's very strange, like when you actually analyze the movie. But I think there's too many things going on, and it's just a very strange movie. So I'm gonna go with a C tier for Sausage Party.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so it's interesting. Like, there's parts of this movie that I really like, and parts that I'm not that big on. But one of the things that I do really like is the cast. I did this on an episode of Tournament Fights. Just like the cast is one of the most stacked casts for a movie almost ever. Like so I'm gonna do it really fast. So just like listen quick, but I'm gonna run it down quick. So this movie, you got Seth Rogen, James Franco, Jonah Hill, Kristen Wiig, Michael Cera, Edward Norton, Nick Kroll, Paul Rudd, Selma Hayek, Bill Hader, David Krumholtz, Danny McBride, Craig Robinson, Anders Holm, and the list just keeps going on and on and on. I'll stop there. But it's like, so for how stacked it is, and like how like it didn't quite deliver as what I thought that it would, I still like it. I still had fun with it, but yeah, it's kind of I'll give it a B for me. It's about a B. So
Okay.
Chad?
Yeah, I mean, it has a stacked cast. It's kind of a nuanced idea, but this is so not my type of movie. This is an F tier for me. I hate when people take look, I think animation can be for kids, adults, whatever, but I hate when people go like, let's take animation and make it dirty. And then they're just like, can we do it? Can we do it? We did it. Oh my God. And it's like, why did you have to do this? This is just so stupid. You take all the food and then you're like, oh, look, we're going to kill all the food and it's going to be insane. And you're going to laugh at that and think it's hilarious. To me, not so much. I think some people might really like this style of comedy, but it's just like the whole raunchy bit with animation just feels wrong to me. So I don't know. I think and even if you are gonna do like kind of raunchy comedy, I think it's been done way better with like, you know, BoJack Horseman and just like a lot of other stuff. But here it's just there's really nothing for me to grab onto to think it's like fantastic or anything. So yeah, I hate this movie. So F here.
Yeah. Well, Dylan,
Dylan?
what do you think?
I haven't seen this in a while. I saw this as like a naive teenager who was like, yo, this looks funny. It's like Toy Story, but if the guys got high and kept asking themselves, how do the cars reproduce in Cars? It's like if they made that movie. It's like, oh, let's make it with food. Let's see all the things we can do. What does food do when we leave the grocery store? It's the basic premise of what like Toy Story and Wreck-It Ralph are. It's just kind of turned up to an 11 in terms of inappropriateness and silliness. But I think there's also kind of something bold about that, just like the risk taking in that, because it hasn't been made. I do agree it's not a great movie, but like I still enjoy it, and I think if you're in the right mood with the right things you're consuming while watching it, it could be enjoyable. So I'm gonna give it a C.
Yeah. Well, Ace, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because there was a time period. I don't know how much you guys follow indie animation, but on Vimeo during this time, there was a lot of like short animated short films where it was just like kind of like this, where it was raunchy, ridiculous, and it was a good like 4.5, 5 minutes. And I think this is what this movie should have been. It should have been like a 5-minute short, and it would have been fine. It would have been pretty enjoyable. But as an actual film, it's probably my least favorite, or one of my least favorites for sure, bottom 10. So I'm going to put it in F tier.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Jacob.
Never seen it. Have no desire to see it.
All right.
Well, Jacob tried to get something in the D tier, but it's actually the sausage party is gonna end up in the D tier. So there you go,
Yeah.
with the C's and the F's and all that. So yeah, kind of right in the middle, which I'm fine with. Yeah, that movie's weird. So yeah, all right, we'll go up to Jordan. What's your next pick?
Yeah, so I'm debating over a few because I'm kind of like running out of stuff I want to put in the S tier. There's a few still, but I think I want to put some from a studio that I don't think is represented. I want to do one from Leica, and I want to champion Paranorman. So, and Paranorman is probably one of my favorite ones to come from the studio. I think that it's a lot of fun. Like it's just kind of just this guy or a kid who ends up having the ability to speak with the dead, and you kind of see his journey kind of growing up, and it's got a really good cast. It's got some amazing animation, and also the score is really great too. Paranorman, the scores all go back to just on like Spotify, and I'll just listen to it from time to time. So yeah, this movie is a great time, and yeah, it's got some good kind of like horror elements for an animated movie, but still like a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll say S tier for Paranormal.
All right,
So.
Chad.
It has been a while since I've seen Paranorman. I do really like films, and Coraline just misses out because it's 2009. But I think Coraline would probably be more of like an S tier for me. I just haven't seen Paranorman enough, so I'd probably put it in A tier personally. But I do think it's really high up there. I think it's really fun, really cool, like little paranormal, like Halloween type movie. I mean, Coraline's similar. I just think that one's done way better. So I mean, I think I'm kind of comparing in that way. But it's one like I remember really enjoying. So like if it did end up in S tier, I don't think I'd be super mad at it. I think there may be some others that I'd probably throw up in S tier before it. So I would throw this one in A. It's good though. I like it.
Yeah. Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, I haven't seen this one since it came out. I remember when I was a kid, I saw it and didn't love it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I was just not. Yeah, I don't know why. So I almost want to abstain because I don't remember it at all. But from what I remember of the animation, it's good enough for me to give just like a C, average C. So I can give it a C or
Sure.
abstain. I just don't remember it enough
Well,
to give it anything higher.
well, it's fine. I mean, yeah, you've at least seen it, so
Yeah, I've seen
so
it. So I'll give it a
yeah.
C because it's like average. I don't think it's anything bad. It's just I don't remember it sticking with me enough to put it any higher.
Yeah. Well, Ace.
I think I'm with Chad on this one where I really enjoyed it, but it's so tough to put S tier. It's S tier. You really want it to be something super impactful. Uh, I probably lean A because it's actually really well done, but I don't know if it's right in S tier yet. So I'd probably go for A right now.
Yeah. Jacob.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with that. I haven't seen it as much as some of the other movies that I've given an S2. But I do think it's really well done. And I had a good time with it, but it's just I've only seen it the one time. I do want to revisit it because I do remember really liking it, and it could be an S tier for me eventually. But right now, I have it at an A just because it is really well done.
Yeah. Austin.
Yeah, Paranormal was one of the ones that surprised me when I saw it in the theater because especially like some of the stuff in the open when he's watching like these black and white movies that are clearly throwbacks to stuff I like. It's like old Hammer horror type stuff. Just these old kind of low budget monster movies that he's into, even so much where they have little details of like boom mics being shown in the shot and just kind of weird stuff like that. But he digs it, and he's kind of the only one in his town that does. I can definitely relate to that as like a big horror fan. Like sometimes you think you're kind of alone in your horror love until you kind of get on online like this and you realize there are other people that are weirdos like you. So yeah, I really like Paranorman. I can vouch that it's a great 4K as I showed off to Jacob on our podcast about movies. They have some really has a whole line of 4K steelbooks that have been coming out this year, and the other ones are coming out soon. So it looks great. I really dig the animation style, and I think it's a fun movie to put on Halloween. So I'm gonna go S tier. I love Paranorman. I think it's a great movie. So, but with that, 2 S's, 3 A's, and a C. So I think it'll be A tier. Maybe a contender for an honorable mention. We'll see.
We need some honorable mentions down there. We're a little
we're heavy on the S's right now. So we'll see what happens. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're back around. So I think we got time for another another normal round back down with Chad. So we'll go through and get some of our last kind of regular round picks, and then I'll explain how the Hail Mary works when we get around that 2 hour mark. So yeah. Chad.
I was thinking about bringing up another Disney animated film, but I think we've brought up a lot. I think I'm going to do another Aardman, actually. And okay, Dylan knows what I'm doing.
This is the one I was going to do too. So
all right, cool. Another Aardman one, and it's different. It's not stop motion. It's more like their digital one. So I'm not sure if some of the animation holds up entirely. But I think it's a very special, sweet film. I'm gonna go Arthur Christmas. I think this is one of, if not the best, animated Christmas film. I know there's another one that's pretty great up there as well. Or maybe Dylan thought I was gonna go with the other one, but I went with this one. No, because that one's later actually.
Oh, so Klaus is 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Right. Yeah. So Klaus isn't there yet, but Arthur Christmas, I think just really captures that Christmas spirit. I think a Christmas film, I'd put it S tier because even though I think there are some weak points, like the animation doesn't super hold up from when it came out a little bit ago, but I think a lot of it is still fantastic. When the elf is wrapping the gift mid bike ride is just pretty incredible. But this one really gets to the heart of kind of what Christmas is about. I think just kind of making a child. I mean, it's about family and stuff like that, but making a child's Christmas special and magical, and not being Arthur doesn't want to be Santa because it brings him prestige and honor and fame and all this stuff, whatever. He just wants to make kids' Christmases magical. and that's he has the sight of that. His older brother does not, and in fact, he doesn't really even care about becoming Santa all that much. When he finds out that one kid was missed for Christmas, he's like, "This cannot be. We have to wake everyone up. We have to sound the alarms." And everyone's like, "Bro, it was one kid. We don't really care all that much." And then he's like, "No, this is a big deal. She didn't get her bike. We're getting her the bike." And just this whole adventure he goes on with his great grandfather or grandfather, and the little elf that loves rapping and stuff like that. It's just really fun, really special, really great animated Christmas adventure. And it just really gets me in the feels when he finally is able to get that gift to the kid. And it's beautiful. I love watching it every year now.
Yeah. Sounds good. Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite animated Christmas movies. If Klaus was on this list, I would have nominated that, but it's not. So, this is my resident Christmas movie that I love on this list. So I will also give it an S tier. Chad said all the great things I had to say about it.
Yeah, sounds good. Ace, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we finally got to one that I haven't seen. I genuinely am just hearing about this one, so I guess I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I still have not gotten to this one either, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I plan on watching it soon. Maybe this year for Christmas I'll finally get to it.
Yeah. Well, Austin.
So I actually own it. It's in my Christmas movie folder that I hang on to for Christmas with all my other movies. I still haven't watched it. I'm sorry. I bought the DVD of it somewhere. I think it was in like a Walmart bin or something for like $5, and I heard good things, so I threw it in the folder. But I haven't actually sat down and watched it. So sorry, I have to abstain. So
yeah,
Jordan.
Well, I actually have seen it, and it's been a while. I only saw it once in theaters, but I remember when I used to live near Boise, I went to the biggest movie theater that they had with the biggest screen possible, and I was actually trying to look up how many seats that theater holds. I just remember when I saw it being the only one in the entire theater, though. So it was this huge theater that just held hundreds and hundreds of seats, and being the only one in this massive theater, and actually I think there were two of us. I went with a friend, and we were able to just talk if we wanted to, or whatever, because there's nobody there, but the movie was really great. Another one that went in with really low expectations that actually really surprised me in it, and I remember thinking this movie's way better than it has any right to be. It doesn't seem like it would be that good, but it was actually great and a really, really cool, heartwarming story. The animation was really well done. So yeah, probably for Arthur at Christmas though, I don't quite give it an S, but I'll say A. So
okay. So this is a little trickier. Only 3 votes. Got 2 S's and an A. So like I said, usually we need at least 3 S's to kind of scoot it up in there. So, but it'll be in an upper A for now still. Just kind of as a rule of thumb. So, all right. All right. But we'll go to Dylan.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna nominate a comic book movie by an all-star lineup of directors and writers. It is actually my favorite movie from the same year as Arthur Christmas. It is The Adventures of Tintin. It is directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Edgar Wright and Stephen Moffat, who is the showrunner for Doctor Who, and Joe Cornish, who did Attack the Block. It's produced by Steven Spielberg, produced by Kathleen Kennedy, and produced by Peter Jackson. That is a lineup like no other. The cast is amazing. Andy Serkis, Jamie Bell, Daniel Craig, Nick Frost, and Simon Pegg. You get the Cornetto duo. It's in my opinion the greatest use of animation in the last few years in terms of just what they were able to accomplish with the action and the style and the cinema and how big everything looks and how grand everything looks. I mean, some of the actual action chase sequences rival that of Spielberg's live action stuff with Indiana Jones. This reminds me of an Indiana Jones film, just with a little bit more of the nautical sea side of things, the boat stuff. But it's a great little treasure hunt movie. It's a movie I go back to a lot. I really enjoy it, and it's my favorite director, Steven Spielberg. So the fact that he made one animated film and it's on this list, I figured I had to give it its due. So it's an S tier film for me.
Yeah. Ace, what do you think for Tintin?
Ooh, this is a good one, man. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but I do remember really, really digging it. Yeah, I feel like it definitely fits into S tier, especially with what it does with the animated genre and what it does with this specific type of animation for sure. Yeah, why not? S tier. Let's do it.
Yeah. Sounds good. Jacob, what do you think?
I, for whatever reason, keep forgetting that this movie exists. And if I didn't make the list, I probably still would not know that this movie exists. Like I just forgot about it for whatever reason. So I haven't seen it, but it is one after now, especially now after hearing Dylan talk about it, that really interests me, and hopefully sooner rather than later I will get to it.
Yeah. Austin.
Yeah, I have seen it. I remember I was filling in for gaps when we did a tier ranker Spielberg episode. Like, what was that, Jordan? Like, God, that had to be like a year and a half ago. It was a long time ago. Yeah, we had like
Love
JT on that episode and Paul Preston. Like, we had a good episode.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was one of the ones I hadn't seen going into it, so I watched it, and like, I do agree. It's like it's very well animated. I do like the performances. I just wasn't really into it. I was kind of blasé about it. I just the story didn't really hook me. I found myself drifting off like 45 minutes into it. I just wasn't as into it as everybody else seemed to be. It's funny because I know it's well made. I know it is. I just don't really dig it. I can't. I got to go C tier. I'm not as interested in it. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I don't dig that movie like everybody else does. It's just not my bag.
Yeah. Well, we need to get one of our other co-hosts on here. We need Chris Scott on here because this might be his favorite animated movie of all time. Like he's really high on it. And he talked about all the times we grew up together, and he turned me on to the comic books, and we went to go see it together, and yeah, this movie's great. Like I actually loved it. Like it just has some like really cool things about some treasure hunting aspects, and then like a whole kidnapping thing, and yeah, it's got a really cool cast, and like some of the animations like it's damn near photorealistic. Like you're looking at it and you're like, is that animated or is that real? Like,
Right.
and yeah, like I think that it's really solid. It's one that I'm surprised I haven't gone back to because I did see it in theaters, but I don't know if I've seen it since. But I need to go back and rewatch this movie. But yeah, I remember that I really loved it, so I'll say S for Tintin. Yeah.
All right, Chad.
Yeah, I don't really remember this one that much. I have seen it. I do remember the action and a lot of that stuff being, incredibly done. So it was a very fun movie, and just like how Dylan is with Spielberg is how I am with Edgar Wright, and I kind of forgot that he partially wrote it. So I want to also champion it because I think it's like, really well done, but I don't remember like the story. I don't remember, really much about it as far as that. So I don't think I can give it an S. Because I could very well go back, watch it, say, oh, it's credibly done animated, but I didn't really like the story. It could be that. So I think just like with Paranorman, I'm just going to give it an A.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What were the votes?
So it's 3 S's, an A, and a C. So it's kind of actually in like Despicable Me territory at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like
at the moment.
the top of A.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So yeah, because again, 3 is usually our threshold as long as there's not other lower votes holding it back. And then yeah, as far as like what we've had so far with like everything in S tier having at least 4 is kind of the strong suit right now. So
you never know though. Like some of those could get bumped.
Up. Yeah, we'll see because we were on a streak and now we're kind of S tier is cooling off a little bit. So yeah, we'll see. Some of those could get bumped up. They definitely could. All right, we're going to Ace. What's your next pick?
This is tough. I want to try an S tier one. It's tough because I feel like I'm gonna name a bunch of movies you guys haven't seen. But
Yeah.
I'd say you know what? Why not? Let's try it.
Well, I'll say this, Ace. What we do on this show is if you get something that gets thrown into the haven't seen tier because not enough people have seen it, you get another pick. We give you another pick on tier ranker. So if you want to even just champion a movie and shoot your shot, you can.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, we get you another pick if it goes into the haven't seen category. I will say that. So we are fair.
Let's go back to some 2D animation. And let's go back to my anime BS. Back up on my BS with The Wind Rises, a Miyazaki film that I think is absolutely beautiful, heartfelt, emotional, but at the same time, just the way it's done is so specific to what the story is when it comes to the aviation story of this guy who is one of the first creators of these planes, and living with this passion that he has. The way it's drawn and the way it's animated is something that is just, to me, it's enough to be an S tier on top of the story. So for me, I'm just going to put The Wind Rises in there.
Yeah. Sounds good. Jacob, what do you think of The Wind Rises?
I agree 1000%. I think The Wind Rises is incredible. One of the Studio Ghibli's best. And yeah, the animation alone. But I mean, you could say that about all their movies, really. Like the animation alone makes it S tier, but the story also is really incredible. So yeah, no, I do have a feeling that there's at least a couple people on this panel that haven't seen it. So
boy, you can get us.
You could be right about that.
I would highly recommend it. Even if you're not into anime, because I do think the story, like the whole aviation thing aspect of it, is really interesting. So I think even if you're not into anime, I think that'll interest you enough. At least the story will to give it a shot. So I agree 100% with S tier for The Wind Rises.
Yeah. Well, Austin, have you seen it?
Big surprise. It's an anime movie that I haven't seen. So yeah, again, it's just not my bag. Even the Miyazaki stuff, I've only seen. I've seen Princess. Well, okay. I saw the first 30 minutes of Princess Mononoke, and then I woke up when the credits were rolling. And that's just me. And then I've seen like My Neighbor Totoro and stuff. That's like all I've seen. So yeah, I haven't seen The Wind Rises.
Yeah, I also haven't seen it either. Like I've seen about 4 Miyazaki movies, but I haven't seen this one, but I do remember seeing the trailers for it, and like thinking, man, like out of any anime movie, that one probably looks like one that'd be more up my alley. But like I really try to like anime, and like I would give it a shot, and like I just don't know if it's like totally for me. I mean, it depends how it's done, because like there is one that championed, Grave of the Fireflies. I actually love that movie. I'll champion that one all day, but I just haven't seen a lot of other ones. So yeah, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment. But Chad.
Yeah, I also haven't seen this one. I do love Studio Ghibli, and I do plan to watch all of them, and maybe watch all of them to rank them at some point, because I just think that it's just a brilliant studio with like the most creativity I've ever seen a lot of the times. But this like stretch of Ghibli films from like 2010 to 2016, I've only seen one, and it hasn't yet been mentioned. But I really want to check it out, especially because it's the one that Ace mentioned, so I'm like, it's probably great. But yeah, sorry, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, Dylan.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it's now on the top of my watch list. So.
Oh, and it just misses the cut. Sorry.
Yeah.
Two votes. Yeah, it's gonna go into the haven't seen. But since it does that, you can get another pick if you like, because yeah, we do give you a mercy rule if it goes down there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh man, now what?
But hey, it's cool to put it on people's radars. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you do that, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's do something again. This is me throwing stuff in the wind and seeing what rises. Let's try Moana. Let's have my fingers crossed that you guys are Moana fans. Let's try Moana into the S tier. a movie that I really, 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 really enjoyed when I first saw it. That I think has a great soundtrack and probably one of the best individual princess songs in a minute. So I want to put Moana in the S tier.
Yeah. Jacob, what do you think?
This is the one I was referencing earlier as my favorite of this time period. I love Moana. It's in my like top 100 favorite movies. Period. I think it is great. I love the music. I love the story. I actually have friends who are of this background, and they said that like it's just a really good representation as well. So I think that's a really good thing going for it. Say what you want about The Rock's voice performance. I kind of dig it. I like his song. And I love everything about this movie. I think the music is incredible. Great soundtrack. And I think it's got like one of the most underrated characters in Jermaine Clement's. What's his name? Oh my goodness.
Noah?
Yeah, Tamatoa. I think he is incredible. I wish he had more screen time. I do like that they like call back to him at the end after the credits. I think he's just a lot of fun, and his song I think is awesome. I love this movie. I would put it like towards the top of S tier, maybe right up there with Toy Story 3. Personally, I love this movie.
Oh yeah, I was just looking it up. Yeah, Tamatoa, it's like a crazy looking crab. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Shiny.
Yeah. But Austin, what do you think for Moana?
Moana's all right. B.
All right, sure.
Sorry, I'm not as high on it as everybody else. It's fine. It's B. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, I actually am pretty high on it just because, like, I was a little late to it. I mean, I saw it like right at the tail end when it was in a theater, so not that late, but like I didn't like see it in like the first month or two. Like I waited till it was nearly done with its theater running, and just because of the word of mouth, people were saying that it's really great, and like I kept seeing at my local theater that like the theaters were always packed for it, and I'm like, but like it wasn't really a movie that I thought would really interest me, but man, was I wrong about that. That movie's great, yeah, and especially all the music too, like I mean, like who knew The Rock could sing like that, and you got song written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and yeah, like How Far I'll Go is a great kind of like I guess princess song now you could say, and yeah, I think that's a lot of fun, and yeah, I also have some friends and family member from that descent and that live in Hawaii, so yeah, just more excuse to go visit Hawaii, which I've never been to Hawaii. I need to freaking go there because I literally have family there, so I need to go. But yeah, I'll say S tier. Well, Chad.
Yeah, I am a little conflicted. I kind of know what's coming because I know what Dylan thinks of this. But I really love Moana. I agree. I'm not sure if like the actual overall story is like up there with a lot of the others. This was number 12 in my ranking. But I agree because I love the soundtrack so much. How Far I'll Go is one of my favorite Disney songs, and then Shiny, and it's just I could actually just listen to this soundtrack just outside of the movie, just so good. I think the voice acting is pretty incredible, especially Jermaine Clement. He's hilarious and everything. Yeah, so I was between S and A. But I think I'm fine with it being an S, so I'm going to say S.
Yeah. Well, Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah. First off, James Cameron missed a huge opportunity to have a giant crab in Avatar interact with Jermaine Clement. They should have done
Right?
that. But I really do think Moana, for its technical merits and its soundtrack merits, is like one of the best Disney's ever done in that sense. I think it's extraordinarily beautiful for the eye. I've gone on the record. Chad and Jacob both know that I'm not a big Maui fan. I I find him irritating, and he doesn't kind of get that redemption for me. Like I'm not won over by the end, but I love Moana as a character so much. I love her independence, her strength, and that first act is my favorite part because it's all her. It's her desires. Her song is so good. And another thing is I really love Pua the pig. So the fact that they get stuck with the chicken on the boat and not the pig, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I miss the pig. But all that being said, despite me not loving the story 100%, I still think the soundtrack and the animation is so beautiful that I'm gonna give it an A. So I'm not going all the way to S, but I'm not going low. I'm sticking at an A because I think it is a beautifully animated movie for sure.
Yeah. Well, Ace, what do you think?
He nominated it.
I
Oh
nominated.
yeah, that's right. Oh
Best.
yeah, yeah.
It's got 4 S's, an A, and a B. It's pretty much the same as Wreck-It Ralph, so it'll stay hang up around there for right now. Yeah. All right. Cool. So Jacob,
Yeah.
what do you got?
I think it's time I nominate one that I think is S tier. And I'm curious to see what other people think. I'm going Hotel Transylvania. I think Hotel Transylvania is just a lot of fun. I love the voice cast. Adam Sandler is Dracula, and I think the entire premise is a lot of fun. This human invades this hotel for monsters, and I just I like the father-son relationship or daughter relationship here. It could be a son. Who am I to judge? It's not up to me to say. But no, I think it's one of Adam Sandler's best. I think his voice performance is really good. I like all the characters, and I just have a really good time watching this. And yeah, I think Hotel Transylvania is a blast. So I'll see how this goes.
Yeah. Well, Austin.
For me, it's gonna go great. I love Hotel Transylvania. I'd go S tier for it. I dig it. It's a total love letter. Again, these movies kind of like Paranormal that are kind of almost throwbacks to Universal monster movies. Like it's just kind of an amalgamation of every kind of a type of that. And yeah, I don't mind the Adam Sandler voice performance at all. I think it's fun, and I really like Selena Gomez's Maeve in there. And it's one of Andy Samberg's honestly better performances, like for me too. And I can be hit or miss with him. I love stuff like Hot Rod, but yeah, Hotel Transylvania I dig, man. So I'm going S tier.
Yeah, well, might be surprised because I think I'm going to go S tier also. I actually really like Hotel Transylvania, and it's one that like I wasn't sure if I was going to like. So and like it always works. I need to stick with this formula for like forever. Probably I'm just going in with low expectations and then becoming very surprised by what I watch, because like it works for a few reasons. It works for me because you have the family dynamic, so like that really works well. It actually has a lot of really good humor that I like, and then also too, like I'm a big fan, like probably been more than a lot of people, of like the whole Adam Sandler crew of like David Spade and like Steve Buscemi and Kevin James, like a lot of those guys, and like it's just fun. Like I went in there not really like knowing which character they were going to play because I wanted to try to pick them out. So I was going to try to pick out all these different voice actors. So that was fun to just kind of do that. And yeah, I had a really good time with it. I mean, I don't think that we needed 4 of these movies necessarily, but I mean, but the first one's probably my favorite of all of them. So yeah, I'll say S. So, Chad.
I'm not on the same wavelength as you guys on this one. I love Adam Sandler as a kid. He was like my favorite actor. Like no joke. Like I was just like diehard Adam Sandler. Like I fell off, as soon as he like started to make like really bad movies and stuff like that. But I'm always very partial to him. So I'll never really have a bad thing to say about him because I just love his stuff a lot of the times. This one I actually saw for the first time around this Halloween season because I was like, you know what, I've been sleeping on these movies. A lot of people seem to like them, and I've been told, Chad, please see these movies because they're fun. I do agree, it was very fun. I don't remember it being like on the same level as like a How to Train Your Dragon, Your Name, for me, Shaun the Sheep, Wreck-It Ralph. I don't see it up there. I don't even know if I see it up there with like Paranorman, Arthur Christmas. I probably put this one in a C, to be honest.
All right. Well, Dylan, what do you think?
I've never seen this one, and I want to now because I've heard such good things here. I've not seen it though, so abstain.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, Ace.
Crap! I thought I was going to be the one person who's never seen it.
Yeah,
I've never seen it either. I want to see. I genuinely want to see it for real. The premise looks like a lot of fun, but I can't give my opinion if I haven't seen it. So sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's fair.
Well,
So 3 S's and a C. It's kind of going to be in 10-10 Despicable Me territory right now.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll see if it gets
Yeah.
bumped or what. But there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's not the tier I expected it to land on. So
Yeah, right.
I'm cool with that.
yeah. Right.
yeah. All right.
Well, Oscar?
Yeah, I'm going to nominate a movie. I think it's forgotten about and how good it is, and sort of kind of how groundbreaking it was. I'm going to talk about Megamind for S tier. I think Megamind has been so overlooked over the years, and I think for the time, the premise, if a lot of people go back right now and go watch this movie, they'll realize how kind of ahead of its time it was. With really, again, maybe I just like movies where the villain is kind of in focus or the supposed villain. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really good with Will Ferrell as this kind of misunderstood, dude who's this villain who doesn't really want to be a villain, but he kind of is. And I'll tell you what, for anybody who's a fan of The Boys, you need to go back and watch this movie because Metro Man is 100% Homelander. He's Homelander way before Homelander. He's like the goody two shoes, smiling, hero guy who's really not as good as everybody, thinks he is, and that's kind of one of the fun things about the movie. But I think this movie was way ahead of its time. It doesn't get enough credit for how good it is, and if people go back and watch it, they'd be really, really surprised. Yeah, great cast. Yeah, Will Ferrell and Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill, Tina Fey. Like it's really, really good. So I'm going to champion Megamind and see what happens.
Yeah. So I just got to look really quick where I actually initially ranked it. So okay, so
and Jordan had helped us win one of our trivia matches because I got a Megamind plot summary and pulled it out of my ass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In a geek match.
Yeah. Nice. Well, you did a good job. You picked my brother's favorite animated movie of all time, but so yeah, you did that. But for me, I think that it's good. I actually really like Megamind, but he wants to watch that movie all the time. He's always bringing it up. He makes his his kids probably have a lot of fun with it. He watches it with them all the time, and yeah, I think that that's fun. It's got a lot of great humor. It's got a great voice cast, and yeah, I just don't know if I'm quite S tier on it, but I'll give it a solid A. I think A is a fair spot for it. So yeah.
Right.
But Chad.
Yeah, I'm right there with Jordan actually. As I would also put it around the A tier. I just haven't watched it all that much, and I'm sure Dylan will get into this. It's a Cyrano adaptation, which is pretty cool, like an animated version of that. And yeah, I think Will Ferrell's great in it. All that stuff. Yeah, I mean everything that Austin said is true. I think it was probably ahead of its time, but for me, I just don't think I enjoy it at an S tier level. But I probably owe it a rewatch, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna throw it in A. I don't think it should be any lower than A, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I remember really liking this one. It was very fun, cool character design, but it hasn't stuck with me quite like some of the others, so I might need to revisit it. But I remember liking it enough, so I'll give it a strong B. It just didn't make enough of an impact for me to put it amongst the A's or S's of this list, but I liked it enough. B.
Nope, sorry, you said A.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Too late, yeah. But Ace.
Yeah, I agree with Chad for sure. I think it's definitely a good solid A. Not quite at the S tier for me personally, but I definitely feel like it's a really, really good film that still needs just a tiny bit more to reach that S tier for me.
Okay. Yeah, Jacob.
It's been a while since I've gone back to it.
Yeah,
But I think it's a really solid movie. I think the voice cast is great. I wouldn't mind, seeing a sequel to this. I would have loved to have seen a sequel by now. Just seeing more of these characters because I think yeah, it's a lot of fun. But it's not quite there for me either. But I do think it's a really solid A.
Okay. All right, got an S, 4 A's, and a B, so it'll be kind of a solid A territory. All right. And I think Jordan, are you lagging a little bit? He's lagging just a tad.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not lagging on my end, so I might be. But can you hear me all right?
I can now. You were
okay.
lagging for a little
Well,
bit, but yeah.
So I'm gonna go with one. Okay, all right. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with another Disney one because, Disney doesn't have too many misses, but they have a few. But I'm gonna go with Big Hero 6. So I think that could be deserving of an S tier because that movie was just so much fun and like who doesn't love the character of Baymax? I mean, like we fell out a window or like Pretty Kitty, and it's like he's just like a lovable just I don't know, like just a good kind of like friend. He's like a medical bot that he's like I heard the sound of distress. What seems to be the trouble? Oh, I just stubbed my toe or something. I'm fine, but the character of Hero, I think it's a really great character. They really created a really cool world with the San Francisco kind of. I thought that was great, and having it based on a comic book and then near the end, spoiler if you haven't seen it. He almost dies, and you really for me, I almost thought maybe that he was dead for a minute, but and then even one other slight spoiler, the Stan Lee cameo was cool to see too. So and I think that's a lot of fun. I've yet to see any of the animated series on Disney. I'm not sure if it's any good, but the movie rocks. I think this movie is a lot of fun. It's got great action, great heart, humor, and just everything. So I'll say S tier for Big Hero 6.
All right.
Chad.
Yeah, I remember seeing this in the theater, really, really, really loving it a lot. And then I kind of went on a roller coaster journey with this one a little bit, where I watched it again, and then I was like, is this really that good? Other than the initial hype for it, and do people really talk about it? I mean, it's cool that it's Disney, Marvel, superhero. It's nuanced in different ways. And I do also love the whole villain learning the lesson and not being exactly who you thought they were, kind of like a Wreck-It Ralph type of vibe there. Is really great. It's a lot of great comedy. I think the emotional stuff between Hero and his brother gets really, really deep. So I struggle to think if I want to put this in S. And I think because it is really, really well done. It's really fun and funny and very deep. I don't know. It does really hit all the elements, but for some reason, I still kind of want to just put it in A.
Yeah.
I'm going to say A. And if it's an S, I won't be mad at it.
Yeah. Dylan.
Yeah, I really, really like this one. Like Chad said, it's a cool, interpretation of Marvel in a Disney lens. But I think Baymax, is why the movie works so well. It's such a good character. I love the scene where he's stumbling home drunk.
Yeah.
He's not really drunk, but he may as well be because he's deflated and falling all over the place.
Low battery,
It's the funniest scene in that movie. But I really do like the movie. I think it's strong, especially the emotional core of it. I don't know if it's amongst my S tier movies, but it's definitely higher A for me. So I'm going with a high A for me.
Yeah, sounds good. Ace, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go S for this one. I mean, obviously, it's been a minute again for a movie I haven't seen in a minute, but it's definitely a very enjoyable, kind of in a way, kind of ahead of its time for what it was doing, at least when it comes to animated adaptations of comic books. Considering what we have now with Into the Spider-Verse and all that, but I feel like it's a really fun movie that kind of breaks the mold a tiny bit with what Disney was doing during this time. So I'll put it in S tier.
Yeah, sound good. Jacob, what do you think?
Well, I think Baymax is an S tier character, but I think the story overall for me is like the movie itself is a B tier. But because Baymax is such a fun character, it kind of bumps it up to an A for me, just because I do enjoy seeing Baymax on screen as much as I can. So, yeah, the story overall, like for me personally, just doesn't hit as much. Yeah, I'll still give it an A because of Baymax. Like, I could watch him all day.
Yeah. Well, Austin?
Yeah, it's a movie I saw in theaters. Haven't seen it since then, but I did like it in theaters. And yeah, I think I'm kind of like Jacob. I like the Baymax character more than I was into the actual overall story. So yeah, I'm kind of in a similar vein. I think I'll go with like a strong A.
Yeah.
So with that, it's 2 S's and 4 A's. So we'll still be in a strong A territory for now.
All right.
And we'll see what happens. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We made good time. We're at 2:05. We are going to go into our Hail Mary last chance round. So how this works is I will go up and down the ladder to everybody. And what I'll need from everybody is you guys each pick out a couple of movies you think, if there's anything still on the board you think is S tier caliber or very strong A. We're only hitting for high stuff. Just anything you think deserves to shoot your shot to get it in last minute to that S tier, shout them out. Even if somebody has already said your movie. So, for instance, Chad says, I don't know, Trolls. I'm just doing an example. S tier. And you agree, also say Trolls, because what I'm looking for is the crossovers. I'm looking for movies that get mentioned more than once, because I will then write those down. And any movies that had crossover, we'll go back and do a rapid fire voting, official voting for those. So we'll just go up and down the ladder, and everybody will just give me a quick, letter grade essentially. And we've had things jump up into the S tier, as Jordan knows very well, last minute. I mean, we can get those movies that will jump up in there that maybe seemed obvious, but we kind of avoided them and can jump up in there. So you guys look over the list, anything that's left up there, pick out a couple if you think are still eligible or still think deserve mention, and then I'll go around and write down everybody's picks. And we'll see what happens. So, I know we might need to give you guys a second to look over or jot anything down. But is that most of the list, Jacob? Or as far as the entire list? That's it. Okay, so he doesn't have to move. So yeah, he doesn't have to move it too much there.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
This is my favorite part of the episode.
Okay.
If you guys are wondering what that top corner is, that's A Cat in Paris.
Cat in
Paris.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm assuming the one next to it is some other animated movie I haven't seen.
It's called A Silent Voice.
Is Emoji Movie not on the list?
In the next one, I think it's 2017.
Yeah.
No, yeah. We'll have a chance to throw that in the trash pile on the next episode. Yeah, we're gonna have another episode with 2017 through now, or 2020.
We'll throw that Patrick Stewart movie into the trash pile soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have a 2017 through 2022 tier ranker on another episode, and then we'll start moving our way
back. Give it a shit emoji.
Yeah. So I don't know if Chad, if you're ready, or do you need another minute? I can come back to you. Okay, if you're ready, just give me a second in between each one. I'm going to write them down. So, but rattle them off. What do you got?
All right, I'm gonna go through my S's and then end with my A's. So, for S, Song of the Sea.
Song of the Sea.
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Okay.
Frozen.
Kung
Fu Panda 2. And Zootopia. And my A's are Winnie the Pooh 2011. Rise of the Guardians. Puss in Boots.
Guardians and Puss in Boots. All right. Puss in Boots. Sounds good.
All right. Can I throw one more in there?
Okay.
Kubo and the Two Strings S.
Okay, Kubo for us. Gotcha. All right, Dylan. You got any ones you want to shout out?
Yes, I do. I also have Kubo for S.
Okay.
I have Anomalisa for S. Shout out Charlie Kaufman, Eternal Sunshine.
Okay.
I have Frankenweenie S. I also have Winnie the Pooh 2011 S. And then some of my A's, I have Kung Fu Panda 2, How to Train Your Dragon 2, and Monsters U. Those are my picks.
Okay. Monsters. All right, sounds good. All right, Ace, who you got?
Yeah, I'm probably the shortest one. I'll
That's
put just because it's me. I'm gonna put a silent voice in there.
Okay.
If you guys haven't seen it, it's a great one. And then to finish out my S list, I'll put Zootopia in there as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob.
Yeah, I'll also shout out Frank and Weenie. I'll go Inside Out. Kubo. When Marnie was there.
Oh my god, I forgot that one. Yes, that's amazing.
The Red Turtle.
Do you want to add it to your list?
That'd be great. Yeah, I love that.
Okay,
movie.
okay, all right. I'll add it for you. Yeah, sure, Marnie. Okay. All right.
And
Jacob.
then did you get the Red Turtle?
Red Turtle, got it.
And then Zootopia.
And Zootopia. Okay.
Can I throw an S for Inside Out? I completely forgot that was there.
Yeah, sure. You can shout it out. Okay. All right. I have a very short one as well because this is only so much I've seen. So the rest of the list, I'll go Inside Out, Monsters University, Kung Fu Panda 2, and Zootopia. Jordan.
Yeah. So, like, you know me, like I sometimes have the longer list. I don't think it's too long this time, but we'll see. But so I have Kubo on there. I have Kung Fu Panda 2 on there. I have Inside Out, the Peanuts movie.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. The Penguins of Madagascar, because I think they focused on the right characters on that one. But and then Monsters University on there. The Rise of the Guardians, and that's all.
Okay. So if you guys will talk amongst yourselves, give me about a minute or so to tally up my crossovers, and I'll be back to you in just a second. And then we'll do some official voting really quick. All right.
Well, some of these anime movies that you guys are all high on, like I'm willing to give them a shot. So I mean, you never know. Like I'm not the biggest anime guy, but like I'm always willing to give that like anything a shot. So
I think the Red Turtle is fantastic.
The Red Turtle is interesting.
I was actually just watching it before we went live.
Very like metaphorical. That's the Ghibli one that I saw.
Okay.
I think I need to see it again to be really high on it. But it's like so like what is going on? Like, am I understanding the metaphor? That I think I need to see this.
It wasn't until the second viewing that I loved it.
Nice. Okay.
Chad, have you seen Anomalisa or no?
I have. I don't love it. I'd probably put it more like C tier. Like I love Charlie Kaufman, but like it just has stuff in it that I don't super enjoy.
I was only asking because I know you just watched Eternal Sunshine literally today.
Well, I'm an hour into it.
Gotcha.
Wait, how could none of us bring up Nomeo and Juliet? We're slacking.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, what's above S? I mean, that tier doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. Something above us.
I will say though, like a high B tier for me is Sing. Those movies are underrated. The Sing.
I
movies.
need
Yeah, Sing's actually really good. Yeah.
I want to
That's
do
like
an
a high B.
elimination ranking.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think that's the movie.
Nut Job too.
I think Sing's the movie that probably got Taron Egerton the role doing the
Rocket Man. Yeah.
Rocket Man. Yeah.
I like his version more than Elton John's. Hot take.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not far off.
Yeah.
Almost kind of like Seth MacFarlane's version of My Way, like not more than Frank Sinatra, because that's kind of crazy to say, but almost as much though.
All right.
Like,
All right.
good.
I think I'm set. We got 10 that had crossovers, but this is a very fast, this is rapid pace round. So literally we just go up and down the same order. We start with Chad and we just go up the ladder. Everybody just gives a letter grade essentially. So this will be quick. And then we'll see what makes it, if anything makes it into this tier. So we'll start with Kung Fu Panda 2, Chad.
S.
Okay. Dylan.
A.
Okay. Ace.
I'll go A.
Jacob.
A.
Jean-Claude Van S.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll say S.
Okay, so
Oh,
it'll be
split.
on the it'll be on the border. So it's 3 S's and 3 A's. So it might be
Ooh.
like bottom of
Right.
S hanging on by a thread. It might get bumped. We'll see. We'll see if it gets
Yeah,
bumped.
yeah.
We'll go back after we go through this. We will literally go and start ranking everything, and I'll go to the votes. Kubo and the Two Strings, like Chad.
S.
Okay, Dylan.
S.
Okay, Ace.
I'll go A.
All right, Jacob.
High A.
Haven't seen it. Jordan.
And I'll say a low S.
Okay, so 3 S's and 2 A's, kind of similar to Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
I'd be hanging on by a thread. We'll see if it makes it. Because sometimes we do go around and do voting for that later, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, we will go Monsters University. Chad?
Oh, that one C.
C. Okay. Dylan?
A.
All right. Ace?
I'll go B for that one.
Okay. Jacob?
B.
Way better than people give it credit for. S.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's better than people give it credit for, but I still say A.
Okay, so an S, 2 A's, 2 B's, a C, kind of like low A, high B area. I don't know if Jacob wants to move it or not. That's up to him.
I think the B2 doesn't have anything in it. So
Oh, yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
I think everybody
Give the
be happy with
B2
that.
some love.
Yeah,
Just
it's
for
a
the
little
S.
lonely there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with another Pixar. We'll go Inside Out. Chad.
S.
All right. Dylan.
A high B.
Wow.
Okay. Andres.
I'll go A.
A. All right. Jacob.
S.
I'll go S.
And I will also go S.
Oh, okay. So 4 S's, an A, and a B. It's kind of in Wreck-It Ralph territory. So up in there. All right. We'll go Zootopia. Chad.
S.
Okay. Dylan.
S.
Ace.
Yes.
Okay. Jacob.
S.
I'll also go S.
Unanimous?
And I'll say
A. Okay. Well, five and one.
I'll be the
still pretty-
downer. Yeah.
It's like How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah,
Still
there was
in,
How to Train Your Dragon.
It's still upper S territory with 5 and 1. So it's around.
To be honest,
let go.
I almost said B, but those sloths, man, the sloths bring it up for me. So, yeah.
All right. A couple more to get through really quick. Frankenweenie. Chad.
Oh, that one. Shit. A.
Okay. Dylan.
I love dogs. S.
Andres.
I'll go A.
A. Jacob.
I love Tim Burton. S.
I'll go. Haven't seen. Jordan.
And I will say A.
All right, so 2 S's, 3 A's, so kind of upper A territory. We will go with that Marnie something or other movie because it had 2 votes. We'll see if it even makes it on the board. Chad, have you seen
Haven't
it?
seen, need to.
Okay, Dylan,
Haven't seen.
Ace.
S.
Okay, Jacob,
S.
haven't seen. Jordan,
I don't know what that is. So
Oh.
I have not seen.
All right. A nice effort, but unfortunately, it's going to land in the haven't seen category. All right, with only 2. How to Train Your Dragon Part 2. Chad.
Oh, S.
Okay, Dylan.
A.
Okay, Ace.
I'll go A.
All right, Jacob.
I said it earlier. S.
I'll go A.
And I will also go A.
Ooh, all right, so 2 and 4, so kind of upper A category. But these these S's and A tiers are getting stacked. Yeah, we'll see. 2 more. Rise of the Guardians was one that had multiples. So Chad.
A.
All right. Dylan.
Strong B.
Okay. Ace.
I'd go B2.
All right. Jacob.
A.
I'll say B.
And I'll say A.
Okay, so it's a 3 and 3, A and B. So maybe it'll join it in either in the B tier or the low A tier, somewhere around there, Jacob.
Yeah.
We'll see.
A tier is
Yeah.
pretty. I mean, we can.
You can go away if you want to.
Sure, yeah.
High B,
High
yeah,
B.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's fine.
All right, and last one will be Winnie the Pooh. Chad.
I said A earlier. I'll go S. It's cute.
Okay. Dylan.
Yeah, Disney's last 2D animation, S.
All right. Ace.
I haven't seen it.
Jacob.
B.
I saw that 70s one a lot. I haven't seen this one, so I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally forgot that there's a Winnie the Pooh movie released at this time, so I haven't seen it.
Okay. It's got 2 S's and a B, so maybe somewhere in the A territory.
It's got
is
Zoe
where it's gonna
Deschanel songs if you love her and like New Girl and stuff. So there you go.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. So now it's a good thing I keep track of all these things, guys, because it gets a little tricky. But I do keep track of all the votes. So I would say the ones that are super, super safe, the ones that do have clean sweeps in the S tier are Toy Story 2 had a clean sweep.
3.
So we have actually, other than the what's that movie? Oh my god, what's that one that had one? It had 3. Your Name had a clean sweep, but only 3 votes. So we'll kind of see where that goes. But the only one that literally will solidify at number 1 is the clean sweep of Toy Story 3. That is number 1 with a bullet because it had all 6 S tiers. Now, we do have several that had 5 S's and an A. Those were How to Train Your Dragon, the Lego Movie, and then I believe we had Zootopia as well. So those will be the next up for kind of a mini vote here. So what we're going to do is out of those 3, what's number 2? Chad.
Oh, How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay. Dylan, number 2.
As the only one who gave How to Train Your Dragon an A, looking at this in retrospect, I'd bump it up to an S. So it would be How to Train Your Dragon for me as well.
How to Train Your Dragon, okay. Ace.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd go to How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay. Jacob.
I'd go Zootopia, but I wouldn't be mad at either one of them.
I'd go Dragon. Jordan.
It's a toss up here, but I'll go with How to Train Your Dragon since it's getting the majority. So.
Okay, so Dragon will be a solid number 2, but actually we'll vote real quick between Lego and Zootopia. What would be number 3? Chad.
Zootopia.
Zootopia. Okay. Dylan.
Zootopia.
Okay. Ace.
I'm going with the Lego Movie.
Hey, it's fair. Yeah. You can go. Hey, stick to your guns, Jacob.
I'll stick with Zootopia.
I'll go with the one that doesn't exhaust me, Zootopia.
And I'm with you, Ace. I'll go with the Lego Movie.
All right. Yeah. So a little of both ways, but Zootopia will stay where it's at, and Lego will stay where it's at. And I think
Pixar,
it would be
DreamWorks, and Disney. Top 3. Nice.
So, and Lego will still stay where it's at 4 because it did have 5 and 1 and did get some votes, so it'll stay there. I think having Your Name is fair at number 5, unless anybody objects, because it did get a lot of strong love from people that it had. So from there, that will be our top 5. Now we do have some trimming that has to be done with the rest of this list, so we will see.
Yeah.
So let's see. Shaun the Sheep had 4 S's, a B, and a B and a C. Tangled had, let's see, I'll find it on my little chart here. Had 4 S's and an A, so it's a little higher than Shaun the Sheep, Jacob. So just for now, bump it up just a tad. Wreck-It Ralph had 4 S's, an A, and a B. So again, a little higher than Shaun the Sheep for the moment.
No.
It's sliding. It's sliding. Inside Out had 4, an A, and a B, so it's around the exact same as Wreck-It Ralph. So that will kind of shine there. Oh no, Shaun the Sheep is sliding. But yeah, Moana had 4, an A, and a B as well, so it goes above Shaun the Sheep.
I'm okay with that one.
6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so but it still had 4 S's as opposed to Kung Fu Panda 2 had 3 and 3. Kubo and the Two Strings had 3 and 2. Those 2 movies will get the bump into the A tier, unfortunately, because we can only have 10. So those 2 will take the guaranteed, though, top spots of our honorable mentions with the Kung Fu Panda 2 and Kubo. We'll take our first 2 honorable mention slots. So I'm just making sure I got my things. Okay, so we have 10 in the S tier. We have the 2 honorables. Now, out of all those other A's, I got to see which have the highest votes to determine that other honorable mention slot.
That's a lot,
So this could be a little tricky. So I'm going to look at the other ones that had 3 S's, which would be Tintin, although it had a C vote as well. We had Despicable Me had 3 S's and 3 B's. That's a contender. Hotel Transylvania had 3 S's and a C, as well as that's it. So actually, it might be between those 3 for that final spot, the ones that actually had 3 S votes attached. Okay. So what we will do is we'll vote between Tintin, Despicable Me, and Hotel Transylvania for that final honorable mention spot. So we will go with that. So Tintin, Despicable Me, and Hotel Transylvania. Chad, what takes the final spot of those honorable mentions?
I am so sorry. Can you say those 3
things? Okay. So we are voting for where they are on the chart, actually, right after Kung Fu Panda 2. We're voting Tintin, Despicable, or Hotel Transylvania for that 3rd spot. What do you think deserves the 3rd final honorable mention
I'll go Tintin out of those 3.
Tintin, okay. Dylan?
Tintin.
Tintin. Ace?
Tintin.
Okay. Jacob?
Despicable Me.
I will also go Despicable Me. Jordan.
Wow, I'm surprised that those 2 are the ones that were getting the votes, but I think I got to go Tintin. I think.
All right, so Tintin takes that 3rd spot right where it is. We'll secure that last one. Now, if we want, we can vote on some individual rankings in that sort of 6 through 10 category if you guys want, starting with Tangled through Shaun. I think Shaun the Sheep will stay at the number 10 spot because it had the lowest of all the votes out of there, even though it had 4. So Shaun the Sheep will stay where I was at. And then pretty much those other 4 were very, very similar, like pretty much had almost the exact same votes, kind of 4 and like an A and a B, that sort of thing. So I don't know how you guys are going to want to break it down. If you just want to vote for one of those to be number 6, we can just do that and see where we're at, and I can break it down further if we need to. So we'll go, let's see, Tangled, Ralph, Inside Out, and Moana, and you'll be voting for the number 6 spot. Chad?
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph. Okay. Dylan?
Tangled.
Ace?
I'll go Tangled.
Jacob?
Moana.
I will go Wreck-It Ralph.
And I will also go Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph. Okay, so although Tangled had 2 votes in there, so I think Tangled will stay right behind Wreck-It Ralph. And I think we will just vote on Inside Out and Moana to take the higher of the 2 spots. So we'll vote.
I gave Moana a vote, so I'm just saying.
Okay, well, you can vote for it again if you like. We'll see. All right, Inside Out and Moana. Chad?
Inside Out.
Dylan?
Inside Out.
All right, Ace?
Moana.
All right, Jacob?
Moana.
I'll go Inside Out.
And I will go Inside Out.
Oh, Inside Out. Okay. So it stays right where it's at. And
that's ridiculous. I gave it a vote for 6.
And, based on the votes, based on the votes, that's where it's going to end up, guys. That's going to be our top 10 and our 3 honorable mentions for the evening for the 2010 through 2016 tier ranker. So not too complicated, but that's why we stick to the votes. That's why I keep track.
Yeah, otherwise keeps track.
I'm going to say usually if something gets a vote for the original vote, then that's the order. But I'm just.
It was only 1 though. It didn't have multiple votes, Jacob. We do that. It has multiple.
Yeah. But these 10 movies, we will see them again in our championship. They'll be back. Not the honorable mentions, but we do put a poll in the Schmodown Friends and Family group tomorrow which will have the top 10 plus the 3 animal I mentioned.
But yeah, those top 10 from Toy Story 3 to Shaun the Sheep will move on to our championship episode. That'll be, probably somewhere in the summertime because we've got to get through all these decades. But they will make another appearance and see if any of them will make the ultimate top 10.
And we got one anime one in there, so
you have an anime movie in there. So we'll see. Maybe people will check it out, before the episode. They got time. People can go check that one out and get some more eyes on it. So
yeah.
I just based on the visuals, Ace, I ordered the Blu-ray. I'm gonna watch it. So
Nice.
I blind buy stuff. Anybody who knows me, next to me, I got an entire wall of Blu-rays. Like I'll watch anything. So it's on the way. All right, but that'll wrap things up. So let me break it down real quick, and then we'll go to some plugs for anybody listening. Just for anybody listening instead of watching, our number 1 this evening will be Toy Story 3. Number 2, How to Train Your Dragon. Number 3, Zootopia. Number 4, The Lego Movie. Number 5, Your Name. Number 6, Wreck-It Ralph. Number 7, Tangled. Number 8, Inside Out. Number 9, Moana. Number 10, Shaun the Sheep, the movie. And our honorable mention for this evening, Kubo and the Two Strings, Kung Fu Panda 2, and The Adventures of Tintin.
Yeah, there you
go. Right. Nicely done, everybody.
Oh.
All right, but yeah, there's a lot of great movies up there. So maybe some stuff we left off. So we'll go around the horn and we'll get some plugs and we'll get out of here. So Chad, anything to plug?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, first I just want to say we did a great job here. A lot of great movies we talked about, and I'm just glad Shaun the Sheep could actually stay in the S. I adore that movie.
Yeah.
Please check it out if you haven't seen it. Very underrated.
Almost got knocked off. Almost.
Hung on by a thread.
Yeah.
For plugs, I already plugged it. My channel is Chadwick Webb. We just basically right now we just rank stuff. And it's really fun. Dylan's on there a lot. Austin was on there, and I'm trying to get other people on there. So, it's a really fun time.
We'll do the Tarantino one once you guys get caught up with your damn Tarantino. I'm ready to go whenever you guys are.
We're going to get that one done soon. Very excited for that. The other things, Nerd Entertainment Network. I do a show called Welcome to Primetime with my wife, Carrie, and my buddy, Hunter. And we basically just talk horror. Sometimes we talk back there. I can forget the direction. Buffy. We rank a lot of Buffy stuff because it's like my favorite show of all time. And then the Dill Pickle Movie Network. We do a show called Picture This. We have a blast doing it every month. We do a year in Best Picture. We talk about all the nominees, including the winners, and we just rank them, talk about them, and see what is our best picture of that year. I also talk about actors and actresses from the year and the ceremony itself. And this month we start our big Godfather trilogy. So we're doing 1972, and then next month we're doing 1974. And then in March, we're going to take a little bit of a break for Oscars season. We're going to do 2022 films. And then we're going to do 1990 for Godfather Part 3, which is also my birth year. But we have a blast doing that. We're also, in this time, we're going to have Mr. Dan Skip Allen on as well as a guest, which is going to be pretty fun. So check that out if you haven't. Like and subscribe to all those things. And thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you for coming in last minute and being a pinch hitter for us.
No problem.
We appreciate that. So
You're a big copy. All right.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. But Dylan, where can we find you?
Yeah, as Chad mentioned, we have our show over there at the Dill Pickle Movie Network, Dill with DYL because it's my name. Subscribe to that channel. We're going on year 3, which is so exciting. I do a lot of other shows and podcasts and stuff. We also launched the Dill Pickle podcast for all the audio versions of those shows. And just hanging around here doing shows whenever y'all will let me. This has been a lot of fun. Love talking animation and love meeting some new faces and talking to some old ones.
Well, if anybody wants to pre-sign up for the other decades, you're welcome to try to scoot in right now.
Yeah.
Good idea. Thanks for having me.
And I'll have to ask Jacob. We might have to. I don't know if we'll need to split up the 2000s as well because I know that.
We might have to.
Which is fine. And then from there, I think the 90s we could just do one. 80s can just do one, and then we might have one that's just like everything before that, just kind of smashed into one. Because there wasn't as many total. So, but yeah, we still got more episodes to come. So, it'll be a journey.
Well, and also Dylan, like your channel is about on the same trajectory as this channel. We're on year 3. We're about 4 or 5 months into year 3, and we're like really like on a push for those subscribers, all that stuff. Yeah. So we're doing the same thing. So, yep.
Yeah. Good luck to you guys too. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. Yeah, but Andres, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Squad Leader Race and my YouTube channel at First Cut. You could also find my channel on TikTok at First Cut TMO. I'm doing, if anyone who watches or has watched Avatar: The Last Airbender / The Legend of Korra. Speaking of animation, I'm doing rankings for each benders as far as who's the strongest benders. So I did fire benders. I'm going to do a water bender one this week. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that.
Nice. Yeah, because Avatar's like something I've never gotten into, but I've been wanting to. Like,
It's amazing.
Check it out because like people are so high on that series, so I gotta check it out.
Isn't there like a new series or something coming out soon, or some new thing?
It's coming out. I don't think it's soon. I think it's like 2025, 2026 maybe.
Oh,
but it's coming out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Nice. Well, Jacob, where can we find you?
Yeah, we'll have to talk about the 2000s because I've got 93 for the whole decade, so we might be able to.
Well, no, I mean that's for tier ranker. We've done ones with 90 or 100 and a tier ranker just available. It doesn't mean they all make get talked about.
I'm not gonna talk about
so
everyone.
We'll see.
Yeah,
it might just be one episode.
There's some I added that I could cut as well. But, no, as far as where you can find me here mostly. Austin and I brought back a podcast about movies, so we'll be doing that every once in a while. The Lonely Marks, our wrestling show, will be coming back this week on Thursday. We'll finally be talking about 2022. We're kind of giving out some awards, just kind of talking about our favorite matches and stuff. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, we just did a draft recently. Talking about our favorite movies. Well, not our favorite movies, but a draft of movies under 100 minutes. So we each picked, there were 5 of us. We each picked a slate of 5 movies. There's actually a poll in the Schmodown Friends and Family group. So go vote on that and see what everyone picked.
Yeah. Sounds good. And Austin, where can we find
you? I mean, I co-host on here a lot. The only other thing I'll plug is Benny Hamlin and Moose Haas from the Schmodown have started their own kind of trivia show called Benny and Moose Save America, and it's on a channel called The Last American Heroes. So go check that out. They just put out their first episode, which I was a part of. It was a Rocky match, and JTE was in the match, so I got to play against some Schmodown people, so that was fun, and hold my own. So that was a lot of fun. I just taped one today. I won't give you the outcome or anything, but I just taped one with Jake Yacovetta for the Boondock Saints. So it's in the can. That'll be coming out around St. Patrick's Day, and then I will be taping next month a match against Moose Haas himself for Back to the Future. So I currently hold the record for Full Metal Trivia for 36 for 36, 100% best thing they've ever had for Back to the Future. So I am ready to take them on. Let's do this. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, there at trivia, I've got a match scheduled that I'm going to be going up against Benny doing all the National Lampoon's Vacation movies because like I can quote those backwards and forwards and like everything. So that'll be fun. So yeah,
there you go.
But yeah, as far as the channel goes, you can find us on all the social media at Movie Hero 2121. I also post a lot on my personal Instagram for the channel, so it's Jordan83616. That's the zip code where I grew up. You can look it up if you ever want to. But and then we'll have the poll up probably tomorrow at some point in the Schmodown Friends and Family group for this one. That'll have our top 10 and our 3 honorable mentions. And then I've been doing some gaming on the channel. I just did a late night stream actually last night. I've been playing some Life is Strange True Colors, so I played that. And then I've been alternating between that and the Marvel Midnight Suns. And then I've been thinking about maybe throwing some Deathloop in there if I have time. Like I just buy way too many games and I don't have enough time to play them all. So I'm just trying to find some time to do it all. But and then I also do a little thing called Snack Hero, where I try out some crazy and wacky snacks. And also just the other day, I did one that I called the Cereal Killer, where I took down 4 brand new cereals I've never tried before, and a couple other kind of interesting snacks that you can go watch that and just like see me try weird and wacky snacks. So just more so we can have some short form content on there, because those only go anywhere between like 20 minutes to an hour, depending. But and then just a little preview of some episodes we have coming up for tournament fights and tier ranker. Let's see. We will be finally getting to our best movies of 2022 as an actual tournament because we already broke down our best of 2022 as a top 12 list. You can find that on our Patreon actually, but we're actually gonna get to the actual tournament. We wanted to push it back a little bit just so we can have some extra time to watch some stragglers and some movies that we didn't have a chance to get to. So we got that coming up. Then we'll be doing our friend of the show, Richie Goodacre. We're gonna be finally getting to his championship episode of his top 128 favorite movies. We had to push that one back a little bit around the holidays, but and then we also have movies set completely off of Earth, which we're still debating whether or not we're going to make that as a tournament fight or a tier ranker. We're going to talk and we'll make some announcements for that one, but it's going to be the closest thing we're going to have to a Star Wars versus Star Trek match. So that'll be fun to kind of talk about that, but. Then we also have Brad Pitt versus Leo DiCaprio movies coming up for a tournament fight versus. And then we're going to be getting into a few other friends of the show. We got Steven Shepard's top 128 coming up. And then we got a Martin Sheen versus Charlie Sheen versus Emilio Estevez match. It's going to be the Family Feud match. So we're going to be doing that. They're all related there. And then we have our 2015 best of series coming up a lot sooner than you would think. And then I will just throw in one more extra one. We also have best spy movies coming up after that. So that's just a little extended preview of some things we have coming up on the channel. So yeah, but thanks again, guys. This was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of see where these animated tier rankers end up, and when championship comes, which movies end up in there. So yeah, it'll be fun. So yeah. So that will do it for us tonight, though. So yeah. So for Chad, for Dylan, for Ace, for Jacob, for Austin Pez, I've been Jordan, the movie hero Anderson, and we will see you next time.